Hello and welcome to the King Heroes Journey podcast. My name is Beth Martins. It's July 24th, 2025. Sometimes I just say the date to remind myself, what day is it? What year is it? And if you're new to the channels, welcome. I'm live on Facebook and YouTube and X, Rumble, and I believe Vigilante TV as well keeps happening. Thanks to my assistant. Shout out to her as well. And today I have the great pleasure of hosting Dr. Julian Camastra to talk about biological dentistry and the terrain of teeth. First, I wanted to just share a few quick announcements so I don't forget. Coming up Monday on July 28th at 1 p.m., I'm hosting Dr. Andrew Kaufman. So we got a series of doctors going through here. We'll be talking about leadership in the health freedom movement, the responsibility of that, which is absolutely enormous. And I've been privy to a few situations where we see that kind of go sideways. So you can join us for that on the same channels on Monday. Also, the Journey Code Coaching Open House, The Power of Questions, is coming up July 30th next week. That's Wednesday, 1:30 p.m. Central Time. I'm going to be giving a talk that is brand new on revelations I've had on the power of questions, which is something I've turned myself into a professional question asker in the last, 15 years, going on 20 years of doing coaching work. And then podcasting is very much about that as well. And how you can actually bring the best out in people by asking questions rather than coming after them, trying to teach them something and tell them stuff and make claims that you maybe can't prove at all. And that's how you really learn and create openness in other people, especially if you want to help them. And that leads into the Journey Code Coaching training, which doesn't start until September 10th with a orientation, but this event will be very good. And I wanted to make sure everybody knows that if you're interested in becoming a coach, learning how to help people deprogram for real and to use archetypes as a map to find lost purpose, lost life force, lost meaning, lost sense of who they are in this mess of meaninglessness, quoting my book, then definitely look into that. I'm going to share a link to the open house, which also has a link to the training. And that early bird ends on August 6th. So this is a really good time to attend the open house and to look into the training before the investment goes up on that. The last thing I want to share is about the House of Free Will, some great activity that's been going on in the back end around the law, which I had almost abandoned. You might notice that I haven't been podcasting about that. I don't have guests on that subject. I ran out of good resources, you guys, because most everything that I was finding in the alt law movement had been debunked enough that I didn't want to pursue it anymore. I don't want to promote it anymore. If you go back in my archives, say on Spotify or iTunes or any of the podcast channels, just know that I've come a long way in my understanding. Don't take that as any kind of gospel just because I had them on. Just a buyer beware there. So in the House of Free Will, we did find somebody who was much more knowledgeable in the historical context of law, which is what most people in the outlaw world do not know, do not understand, and don't want to know and don't want to understand. So that to me is always a clue. When people don't want to understand something, there might be things in there that you need to know. Same in the health field with Dr. Garrett Smith's work. You've heard me talk about that quite a lot. There's a bunch of people that are in my world have gone that direction and have started to experience the benefits of that. I continue to in my 11th month now myself. And, I've come to the conclusion that people don't really like the truth. They have limits. They only want to go so far. So congratulations if you're somebody who likes to continue to learn. The last thing is that you can do an archetype quiz at my website to find out where you are on the path of purpose according to the 8 archetypes of the hero's journey. So in 10 minutes, you get a really good download and a reflection of where you are right now in this time. You can do that quiz into the future as well and get different answers because we're growing and learning. That's the hope, and maybe spiraling up in that respect, which is not the ultimate goal. Freedom is the ultimate goal. So no matter what's happening in your life, no matter what you're working on, that to me is the subject. And when I remember it, it's a really beautiful thing. So today, the topic of teeth, I think is going to be extremely popular. I know I've got quite a few questions from people that are like, yay, I definitely want to talk about this. How is it possible that we go through so much in the alt law world, or pardon me, alt health world? There's so many alt worlds. And the teeth really don't come up, but yet they are a major part of your health. I know this intuitively. I'm excited to invite to have invited Dr. Julian Camastra, who I'll just let you know a little bit of his bio before I bring him on. In 2020, after losing touch with allopathy and germ-centered medicine, he became a student of terrain-based health. And when considering how his dental treatments fit into this new paradigm, he was faced with the harsh truth that he himself would not want the dental treatments that he was offering to his patients. This led him on a journey to discover other approaches to dentistry that were more harmonic with human well-being. I think we've all had our terrible experiences at dentists. I know I just had some amalgams removed, and it's left me with some injuries, and it's like, So he traveled to Switzerland and Germany multiple times to study under a few of the leaders in biological dentistry, which included having his own tooth treated. The experience was so transformational, he decided to dedicate himself to bringing these revolutionary treatment concepts back home to Canada. So in 2023, he founded Terrain Dental Wellness. I'll be sharing a link to that, and the Canadian BioHealth Center. So that's amazing. I was pretty excited that I already knew Julian, and we'd got to know each other, met in Toronto last year actually 3 years ago, 2 years ago. It's been a while. So without further ado, I'm going to bring Julian on. Hello, Julian, and welcome to the
Hey, Beth.
podcast. Hi. A little bit of background noise, but it's gone now, so we're good.
Let me know. I can grab headphones if I need to.
Okay, yeah, it can be. I think StreamYard figured it out. It's actually not bad at. It's like Zoom. It can normalize the sound.
Okay.
And I just wanted to say hello to a few people. I actually took note of this question already, VAce, and welcome JJ Hempcrete Bear. I'm noticing lots of bears in the Love Your Liver world, by the way. And Quietly Content Bear, you have a question about a sore tooth, and can't copy and paste from this darn forum. So I'll keep your question in mind. We'll probably go through some stuff. Julian has a good presentation first. And so then we'll get to questions. Hello, Yvette Shinebright. And no orthodontist or periodontist has any answers. That's how they roll. How do they stay in business that way? And welcome to The Accidental Alchemist. So Julian, it's so great to have you here.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for having me. It's really an honor. And I've been a fan, obviously, of the podcast for a while. So it's pretty surreal to be kind of the one in the chair. So yeah, thank you. It was 2 years ago, like around Labor Day weekend, that I think we were at the festival there together.
Right on. Yeah, it feels like a lifetime already since then. So much has happened.
Yeah.
And is there anything more you want to say in way of introduction about yourself?
Well, I like to rephrase a little bit about the importance of it. Like, teeth are obviously in the center of attention in the mouth, but we like to look at it as the mouth is the entrance to the body. So it's like the lobby of the if the body's a hotel, the mouth is like the lobby, right? So that's kind of how it fits in, and it's the first point of your microbiome as well. So we all like to focus on the gut health and all of that, but the mouth is where everything starts, and so it's really an important place to focus on in terms of optimizing overall health.
Nice. Well, the gut is here too,
Exactly.
right? Like, this is all, you can't separate. That's
one world. Tube. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. It's all continuous. There's no break in there. It's very sophisticated in that. I became a professional chewer, by the way.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people wolf down their food, and I'm always.
Me.
That's you wolf it down. Okay.
That's something I work on. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Going slow. You can hang around to me. Yeah. People will finish their meal like 3 times faster than me, or sometimes 4 times faster than me. And it really is amazing for your gut to let your mouth have a good go at your food.
Totally.
Yeah.
The other thing, to tie that in, is you hear of the term leaky gut, right? And there's different lines of thought on why that happens, but there's the same thing happens in the mouth. So we call it leaky gum. So when your barriers in your mouth aren't in good condition, then same thing, you have things that you want to keep on the outside, like your mouth and your gut is considered outside of the body. And when you have these openings, then things that shouldn't be getting in there can get in, right? And
Right. Right.
so it's another nice way to think of the connection between the mouth and the gut.
Exactly. Yeah, I just thought of a very strange example how, sometimes drug users will rub stuff on their gums,
Yes.
and it's a sign probably of how incredibly porous that part of your body
Yes.
is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's some medications you can just take under the tongue and they absorb right into the bloodstream.
right, right, exactly. Yeah. So I'm just sharing links. This is to Julian's Telegram group, which I recently joined, and this is his website. Hello, M. Nice to see you. Glad you're here. And then there's one more, is the association that Julian created, the Canada BioHealth. So after
So
this
yeah,
live,
the Telegram group, I try, like, whenever when you're a dentist, doesn't matter what kind of dentist you are, if you're ever in a social setting, there's always people coming up to you and opening their mouth and showing you, and they want your opinion on something. Like, everyone has dental questions, and so that's kind of the spirit behind the Telegram group, is I try to just answer people's questions and in a helpful manner and point them towards resources and stuff. And so it's like, I like to think of it like those old radio call-in shows, like a health show, and someone calls in with their question. It's kind of like a modern version of that.
yeah,
And
yeah,
so
that's awesome.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
been, I think it's been helpful for people. So I'm happy to do it.
That's very generous of you, because it could get, the volume could get a little out of control. You probably know that, and there might be a shorter amount of time that you could even do that. So I encourage people to take advantage of it right now. We've been really lost in the health world, right? We've been completely failed by the mainstream systems, whether it was, in the medical or dental world. And then most of us did a big pendulum swing over to the natural health, and dental is newer, right? You can't actually find a biological dentist around here that I'm aware of, or that can actually practice dentistry at the same time. So I'm going to ask you a little bit about that, what it's like for the regulatory world. Maybe let's go into that right now. How did things transition from that, being a regular dentist to being a biological dentist?
Um, well, there's no official recognition of it, within the current regulatory system. So it's just based on the training that you've done. And like, so it's funny, like all these certifications behind me, they're all just my biological ones, because they're the only ones that I really value. Like, I don't have my dental degree or my dental license up on the wall, just the training I've done in the last 4 years or so. And so it's kind of unofficial, right? So like, there's official organizations in Europe, and those are the ones I've done the training with. But yeah, it's not really recognized. It's not. I can't call myself a specialist in biological dentistry or anything like that, because the word specialist is like a regulated word, right? But um, you're fine. Like, it's all about informed consent. Like, in the dental world, that's still kind of happening. And as long as you've educated the patients and explained the different, so even though we practice a certain way, we still explain that these are all the options and these are the ones that we do here. But there's other options out there, just we don't do that, right?
Right,
So
right. And you were able to keep your dental license,
yeah,
practicing
totally,
coloring
I'm
outside the
fully
lines?
licensed still. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was told by my own dentist that that wouldn't be possible, but who knows? I guess it could be different province to province as well, or
Well,
is it Canadian?
it's just it's a matter of, you have to do a lot to just make this happen in your practice, and there's a lot of hoops to jump through. So it's been the last 2 years for me. I've like really started from scratch again. Like, I basically went back down to nothing and then built back up based on what felt much more aligned with my own values. So it's just really hard for a lot of people to do that. I mean, I don't have kids yet, and I was able to like take a little bit of a step back and then build what I've built now. But I don't know if that makes sense. Like it's a lot to take on. It's a huge undertaking, and there's certain things like, you know, these clinics in Europe that I trained at, they've got the whole medical and dental integrated together, and they do things like IV drips and some other treatments along with dental surgery. I can't do that stuff under my license, so I've partnered with a naturopathic doctor here who's licensed to do IVs, and so that's how I'm getting around the regulation. I'm partnering with a doctor who's going to handle that side of things, and so yeah, you've got to piecemeal certain things together to make it work in whatever jurisdiction you're in. Ontario is one of the most difficult. Like, we're the most restricted, the most heavily regulated in dentistry in general. So right. I feel like if you can do it in Ontario, you can do it anywhere, actually.
Okay. Oh, that's
yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Manitoba's like that too. That if it flies here, it'll fly anywhere because we have the worst critics, or however you would say it. If that's still true, that was true.
Like even Quebec has way better, you know, way more friendly regulations for someone like me. I was just there last week helping a dentist there who's getting started in this kind of thing too. And yeah, some of the things I'm like, oh my goodness, I can't do that. I can't do that here. But,
darn it. Yeah, exactly. Well, what would you like to do? Do you want to pull up your presentation and get started, or do you want to jump in with the questions? Either way is fine.
I think we'll save questions to the end, and then
sure.
All right, let me just make sure I can share.
Yeah, so I will go back in the chat for questions, but if when we get there, for any reason, I'm not getting to it, don't hesitate to re-ask. And so here is.
So we got it. You can see my screen.
We got it. I'm going to take your banner down so that you can see the whole thing. Yep, we can see it. And if you want to go full screen, just let me know.
I'm full screen already on my side, so I can't see you or any questions or anything.
Yeah, we're still on the left-hand side of the.
Okay. Oh yeah, no worries. That's fine.
Okay.
Okay, so I mean, the way I've designed this presentation is as a resource. So for anyone who wants to go back, there's going to be information up on the slides, websites, links, resources, you know, studies, all that kind of stuff. So the purpose isn't really for me to cover everything, but I'm just trying to put this out here like a masterclass in the overall topic of dentistry as a helpful resource for people in the future. But obviously, if there's any questions along the way, just stop me, and I'm happy to answer. So you already heard a little bit about my background. So on the left-hand side, that's me with Dr. Ulrich Volz of the Swiss BioHealth Clinic and Swiss Dental Solutions. So I met him in the fall of 2022, and he told me that if I come to his course in Switzerland, that he would do my tooth for me. And so I took him up on that, and that's kind of what led me on this journey. And that, like was mentioned before, was a very life-changing experience for me. So if you want to learn about that link at the bottom, canadabiohealth.com/journey. I made a whole video about the experience. Then I met this guy in the middle, Dr. Dominik Nischwitz. He's considered the world's leading biological dentist. He's got a big presence on social media. He's been on every health podcast you can imagine. And I got took under his wing last year, and I went and spent 3 days one-on-one with him in his clinic, and that just kind of catapulted where I was at. And now I'm basically recreating what he has there in Germany, here in Oshawa, just east of Toronto. There's me with a few members of my team in the clinic, and we're due for another picture now because we've grown, and there's 3 doctors now working together, and quite a big team now. So lots of exciting things going on. So biological dentistry, we're moving from the technician to the physician. So conventionally, dentistry has been a mechanical profession. where you break a tooth or you need a tooth replaced or something, and then you go and they fix it for you, or you have a toothache and you go and they take you out of pain and they rebuild your tooth so you can bite on the tooth, smile, all those things. And I don't want to downplay, like, dentists do a really good job. It's such a highly technically difficult thing to do, and you learn these very fine motor skills to be able to restore these teeth so that they last. The mouth is a very hostile environment, so we're chewing, we're exposing our mouth to hot and cold, and the forces put on our teeth are pretty enormous. So in order to put something back in someone's mouth that's going to last, it has to be done very well, and dentists do a really good job at that. The thing that biological dentistry brings to the table is that we're really considering the overall health of the patient, and that's the number one priority. It's a shift from health being the priority, or to health being the priority, from biting and smiling. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So a biological dentist uses the most biologically compatible dental restorative materials available and works with their patients to help them support and optimize their innate healing ability, resulting in the best possible outcomes. As biological dentists, we treasure our own health, and thus the treatment we provide our patients is at that same standard that we would want for ourselves or our closest family. So that's really it's the gold standard, right? It's the golden rule. And that's what led me on this transition. Was I reached a point where I said, I don't want these treatments that I'm offering to people. And then, that was a pretty dark place to be. And then it led me to where I am now. But that's what feels so much better about doing this kind of dentistry, is if you come see me as a patient, you can feel confident that what the treatment you're getting is what I would want for myself or my own family. That's really the shift.
Right. I know dental people behind the scenes, and how, I shouldn't know this, but they will give everybody fluoride treatments except their own family. Don't give my mother the fluoride. Don't give my children the fluoride. I'm not having the fluoride, right? Yeah. So there's, when you see what they choose for themselves, it's a tell.
Most dentists that I know, a lot of dentists, they're good people. Like most of them are not bad people. With the fluoride thing, most of them think it's good. You know what I mean? So they have kind of tunnel vision, and they see a lot of tooth decay. It's a real problem. We're going to talk about that in this presentation.
Okay.
And they see people coming with all these cavities in their teeth. Fluoride actually does help reduce the incidence of cavities. And so they believe in it. They think it's important, and they're worried that if it's taken out of the water supply and that kind of thing, kids are going to get way more cavities, and it's going to be a big epidemic, which it already kind of is. And they're not wrong, but that's where the terrain conversation comes in. And it's like, we have to ask, why are our teeth rotting? Teeth shouldn't be rotting. Like it's a bad sign. It's a sign of poor health. If your calcified hard structures, which are your teeth, are decaying, right?
Exactly. So, and then, go ahead.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, I was just going to say, the learning to look for the root cause. We all know to say that now, but when you're just putting fluoride on to reduce the rotting of the teeth, and you're not addressing why those teeth would rot in the first place.
It's just a Band-Aid.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I've kind of created a few categories here to help people just simplify the different types of dental disease that we see. So the three categories are degeneration, and that's degeneration of teeth, like cavities, like we're talking about, and then degeneration of bone and gums, and that's known as periodontal disease or gum disease. Then we have toxification. So metals can be a toxin. That includes mercury, which is in the silver fillings that you just had removed yourself. And then you can have infected teeth, particularly infected root canal treated teeth.
Right.
And then there's something else called cavitations, jawbone cavitations, and we'll talk about that as well. A lot of people don't know about that one, including most dentists don't know about that. And then we have anatomical and growth deficiencies. And this is what we see as a big thing today, leading to a lot of people having breathing issues and things like sleep apnea and bite problems and jaw problems. All of this is related to how we don't really grow, to our full potential anymore. And it's a byproduct of our modern lifestyle. So we'll talk about that as well. I just grabbed this little post from this he calls himself a functional dentist, I think, but I like this post. So cavities aren't normal. Getting braces and extracting teeth isn't normal. Snoring isn't normal. Mouth breathing and tongue thrusts aren't normal. Just because something is common doesn't mean it's normal. So this really captures what we're seeing in dentistry today, where it just has become common that, like, yep, everyone needs braces. Yep, everyone needs their wisdom teeth extracted. Cavities, most people get cavities. Like, it's just, we've come to accept these things of just facts of life, and it's a sign of degeneration and like de-evolution of our species, right? And these things shouldn't be considered normal.
Yeah, I just posted this morning, make mental illness abnormal again.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I thought it was going to be badly received. It would have been. I could have got sued over that not long ago.
Wow.
But yeah, I only have friends apparently, so that's good.
That's good.
Yeah.
So I really like this picture. It's a cross section of a tooth, and they've used different techniques to illuminate the different anatomical components of the teeth. And it just shows you how beautiful and intricate teeth are, and another one of nature's beautiful creations. So you can you see my mouse?
Yes, we can. Yeah,
Okay, so you can see the outer layer of a tooth. That's the enamel, and that's the hardest structure in the human body. And then underneath our enamel, we've got the next layer of a tooth, and it's called dentin, and it's a little bit softer. It's around the same hardness as our bones. And then in the middle, we have the nerve. So that's called the pulp of the tooth, and that's where the nerve tissues and the blood supply and even the immune system of the teeth are in there. So this just really nicely shows it. And then I'm going to run you through a few slides here that I borrowed from a doctor in New Zealand. His name is Graham Milicic. I have his full lecture available on my Telegram too, which is pretty cool. But it's on this topic of biomimetics. So we're trying to learn from Mother Nature in how we approach our treatments in dentistry. When we're replacing a teeth or we're filling a tooth, we want to do it taking into consideration how they were naturally designed, and try to mimic that with our dental restorations. So this just shows some very cool structures from antiquity that are still standing today, and it highlights the incredible strength of dome structures. So we've got the Pantheon in Rome, and you can kind of consider a tooth in the same way. So a tooth is like a dome, and if you look at how the top part of the tooth resembles the top part of this Pantheon dome, and then we've got the walls which support it. And when a tooth is intact, it's incredibly strong. Like, the amount of force that we put on our teeth is enormous. And
you know it when you bite your own tongue, how much force went into that. You're like, oh my God.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or you ever like put your finger in a kid's mouth and they bite you?
Yeah. Yeah. Or a dog. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
So here's some more examples of arches. And the point that we're going to make here is that the strength of these arch structures is dependent on them remaining intact. Okay. So if we were to remove this middle section of this arch here, then the whole thing would lose its support. Like, if this was a weight-bearing structure and you took out the middle stone, then if that was supporting things above it, it would all fall down, right? And this is what we do to teeth when we drill into them and fill them with fillings.
Darn.
So when you get a cavity on a tooth, it goes right in the middle of the tooth where you can see here, and then the dentist has to drill into it to remove the decayed tooth structure and then fill it back up with filling material. But you are compromising the integrity, the structural integrity and the strength of that tooth, and it'll never be the same again. And that's something I really want people to internalize, because it's seen as a normal thing, like going back to before, where I had a couple cavities, they did a couple fillings, but really what that means is your tooth will never be the same again. And now when it's put under all of these stresses that we do with chewing, and people do even more to their teeth, grinding and clenching, that's why we see people break teeth and they get cracked teeth, and then you end up with a toothache, and then you end up needing a tooth pulled. Right. So it's the start. Like when you first drill into a tooth, it's now never going to be the same. This video here does a good job illustrating it. And I'm just going to turn the volume down because I know it won't come through. So he's got this flexible bucket. It's like a 99-cent bucket at the hardware store. And you can stand on it. You can use it as a stepping stool, even though you can see how flimsy it is, right? So he's cut two little areas in it, and that resembles like small fillings that you can get between your teeth, and it still has the strength. But as soon as you connect those two and you get what would resemble a larger filling, we'll watch what happens. So he connects them together, and then now he can no longer stand on it.
Right. There you go. Yeah. Don't worry about the audio. You guys wasn't intended it. Yeah.
Yeah. I was just going to narrate. So this is what we see happen with teeth. Okay. So teeth get structurally compromised, and then these little cracks form, and then they propagate. It's like a crack in your windshield. If it doesn't get contained, it just starts to extend, right? And so as you keep biting on this tooth and the forces are put on it, then the crack gets deeper. And then you can end up having cavities form along those cracks because there's a microscopic opening that bacteria can get into, and then you don't have a way of cleaning that. And so you can start seeing cavities form, like tooth decay form along a crack like this.
Can a cracked tooth be repaired?
Yeah, like if it's early, right? So if it's all about containing it. So if it's an early crack and you catch it early, then you can try to, you have to drill it, right? So you shave away the part of the tooth that's damaged, and then you build it back up, and that's using this biomimetic technique that I was referring to, and I'll refer to again. So this is the tooth death cycle, and people, if you talk to 5 people, probably 3 or 4 of them have gone through this kind of thing, right? So you get initial cavity, and this is the whole goal of this presentation and the terrain theory is, okay, how do we encourage a healthy terrain so we don't get cavities, so we don't get tooth decay, right? Like I said before, our teeth shouldn't be rotting out of our head. That's a sign of something being very wrong. Okay, so you get a cavity, you get a filling, then you get cracks and decay in the filling, and then you got to either do a bigger filling or you got to do a crown, right? Because too much of the tooth has been lost. Then you get a crown. Hopefully that works, and the tooth doesn't become sensitive after. A lot of the times the tooth does become sensitive after you've drilled into it, or a dentist has drilled into it, and then you end up with a root canal. A root canal is when you have to remove the nerve and blood supply of the tooth. You hollow it out, clean it out, sterilize it, fill it back up. That allows the patient to keep the tooth for biting. And then oftentimes those root canals, as we're going to talk about, they end up getting infected again, and then they need to be extracted, and then you end up with an implant. So this is what we see all the time with patients. It's the cycle. You start with a cavity, and then the clock starts ticking where, after 10 or 15 or 20 years, probably they're going to be, losing that tooth. Unless each step of the way, if the treatment's done really well, then there's a chance they can stop this cycle and prevent it from getting worse. But that's the challenge, and that's what dentists are striving to do, but it's not that easy. So, I mean, we want to look at this cycle and at each step of the way figure out how do we prevent it from getting worse. So initially we want to prevent cavities altogether. And then if we get a cavity, we want them restored conservatively and biomimetically. So there's this whole field of dentistry called biomimetic dentistry. So it's something you can ask. You can look on online directories. You can find dentists who have done training in biomimetic dentistry. If I needed a filling, that's what I would want to see, a dentist who's done this biomimetic tooth restoration technique training. And then if you end up needing a root canal, we'll talk about root canals. The alternative health world is like hardcore anti-root canal. We're going to talk about how there's a role for them, and particularly in the short term, it's a good solution for the short term, and then it's important to have a plan for the long term. So if you end up needing a root canal, you want it done by a skilled practitioner who uses a microscope, and they can do a really good job with it. And then same thing with implants. You want it done by a skilled practitioner using the strongest and most biocompatible implant material available. And then, this tooth death cycle, it leads to something like this, right? And you get a patient who's had 9 root canals here, 2 implants, and it really at that point becomes a construction site in the body. And this is when we're talking about overall health, and we look at what kind of things have been done in people's mouths in effort to keep teeth for biting, we end up with all these foreign materials in our mouth and all these dead teeth that are prone to reinfection. And then it's no wonder why people end up with chronic health issues connected to their oral health. This is a family friend, and he ended up with prostate cancer, and we've started working through all this old dentistry, but it's just a really extreme example here. But there's a lot of this going around, especially in the baby boomer generation. The baby boomers were really hard on their teeth.
Why in particular?
Why? I mean, the theory is that like they just worked. They worked a lot. They were really stressed, and they were really hard on their teeth, and they just, like, a lot of them grind their teeth like mad, and got a lot of cavities, all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, I don't have a definitive answer on that, but it's that generation, and the dentistry wasn't so good either. Like, they ended up with a lot of those big amalgam mercury fillings, which weaken teeth so much, and then the teeth break and they need them pulled, or that they get sensitive and they need root canals, all of that, right?
Yeah, I was just thinking about it last night, preparing for this a little bit, and how when I was growing up, we had a subscription to Pick a Pop. Like, regular sugar drinks were part of it. We freely ate all kinds of, as long as my dad wasn't around, all kinds of processed food and sugar food and the McDonald's trips. And it's amazing I didn't die a lot sooner than I didn't die at all. But yeah, so I think there was a heyday time, right? And that was financially too, where everybody was just like, there was just so much of everything, and there was no governor on that, like, oh, take it easy on the sugar or anything.
Yeah. Well, and like, TV dinners were becoming a thing, and like, yeah, the processed food was like a revolution, and everyone was,
exactly.
The convenience of it was like, oh, we can just microwave our dinner. You know what I mean? We don't have to cook. And so
exactly.
Yeah, I hear stories like that a lot, where it was like, yeah, you should, if you saw what we ate as a kid. And so I think like kids back then were getting tons of cavities, and then they were getting these huge fillings, and it just starts the cycle with all these teeth.
Yeah, hand up.
And then, this slide here just illustrates how implants aren't always a perfect solution either. There's a study that I've linked to here that shows that 20 to 40% of dental implants, titanium dental implants, end up with some kind of inflammation or bone loss around them. And this is a couple of extreme examples. This one, the patient came in with this implant supported prosthesis in their hand. Their body rejected it. And you can see all of the corrosion and there's literally rust on the metal.
Ouch.
And that's in the jawbone. And these things can work for a lot of people, but they're not without their problems. So when someone's losing a tooth, patient will often, you'll be talking to them about implants, and they'll say, okay, is this going to last the rest of my life? And you're like, how can you expect this to last the rest of your life? Like you lost your natural tooth that you were born with, and now we're just doing our best to replace it with something. We have better materials now, and I'm going to show them now, and I feel a lot better about what we have available to us now. And I even have one in my own mouth of these new style of implants. But like that cycle, that it doesn't end with implants is what I'm trying to say. A lot of the implants end up having problems with them too. So you can see on the bottom left, there's an example of some extreme bone loss around implants here. So all this to say that the best dentistry is absolutely no dentistry at all. and any decent dentist would agree with that. And I think this is where the disconnect is with like allopathic medicine. Like, you don't want an intervention if you don't need one, right? That's the whole thing with these shots, and like, it's like preventative, everyone needs it. Fluoride, everyone needs it. But no, like you want to be in a state of health where you don't need any medical intervention, including dental, right? So that's the philosophy. Obviously, there's a lot that needs to happen to ensure that, and there's a lot of places where things can go wrong along the way that end up requiring some kind of intervention. But in an ideal world, you wouldn't need a dentist, right? Like, there's this funny thing that happens in dentistry where you get a patient who comes to you as a new patient and they haven't been to the dentist in 10 years or more. And it's like, there's this shame around it. It's like in conventional dentistry, when I was in that world, it was like, oh, you've been bad. You've been a bad boy. Like, you really ought to be coming in regularly to the dentist. And like, that never sat right with me, because it's like, if you look at animals in nature, they don't go to a dentist and they don't have dental disease.
Right.
So, that's like a big one for me. It's like this whole thing of you need a dentist and you need to be going regularly. Like, for some people, yes, that's true. But for someone who's in an optimal state of health, that's not really true at all. Right. So,
Right. Yeah, my son's finally off the hook. He turned 18 and he's like, Mom, do I have to go to the dentist every 6 months? I'm like, nope, but you have to take care of your teeth like a mofo.
But I mean, the problem is people end up doing things like this to their mouths, right? So this is the first category of degeneration, and this is dental decay or tooth decay or cavities or caries, all the same thing. And you can see on the x-rays, you can see there's giant holes in the teeth. And this is an extreme case, but it just illustrates the point of this overall degeneration that's happening. So I'd like people to think about it in the same way that a piece of fruit starts to rot, right? Where it starts in one place and then it spreads from that point. And so the causes, there's a whole number of causes, and processed food, particularly refined carbohydrates and sticky foods. So that's like crackers, like for kids especially. That's a big one. If I could ban one food in the world, I think it would be goldfish crackers.
Very good.
That's what everyone gives their kids, right? And they're they're sticky and they get jammed up in between the teeth, and they're a simple carbohydrate, and they just breed tooth decay.
Right.
Then the next one that is a little less known is mineral deficiency. And the best example is a lot of times we see women who, after a pregnancy, they get a bunch of cavities in their teeth, and they may have never had a cavity in their life before.
Yeah.
And so what's happening there, is it because all of a sudden they stopped brushing their teeth, or they weren't cleaning their teeth properly, or whatever? I think it's something deeper going on, and it's pointing to a mineral deficiency. And then when you're growing a baby, your body's prioritizing the metabolic needs of the growing, embryo and fetus, and it's pulling. If you don't have enough reserves, it's pulling from you, right? And I think this is very intuitive. And so the teeth are like storage banks of minerals. They're a very highly mineralized structure, and they leach minerals, and then your body can use them to meet its deficiencies. So that's one of my theories. Like I can't give you a study that proves this, but I think the pregnancy example is a really good one. And I see this being like one of the central themes of tooth decay.
Right. And then like the teeth are bones, correct? They're just
Pretty much like
bones.
exactly. Yeah. Like you can think of them like bones. Yeah.
Right. Right. So the same, kind of osteoporosis thing where it's your body's desperate for minerals. It's,
Yeah.
you might end up eventually crippled, but it's not the quick death of the heart attack because
Exactly.
you lack electrolytes.
Exactly. It's if in a really intelligent way, your body is saying, okay, we're short of minerals, we need them. Where can we take them from that's not going to put us in immediate danger? Like if it took minerals from your femur bone and you snapped your leg in half, you'd kind of be screwed. Versus if you lose some minerals from your teeth, like, yeah, you'll be okay from a survival standpoint, right?
Right. More so. Right. Yep. Exactly. The body likes slow death. That's what Garrett Smith always says. Slow dying. Yeah. Yeah.
And then eating habits come into play. So there's a lot of people that are grazers and snackers. And the problem with that is there's a pH balance of your saliva in your mouth, and that promotes remineralization of your teeth. And if you're always eating, your mouth will be in a more acidic state, and then it will favor demineralization. So I have a solution to that after, but then there's poor saliva and issues with the microbiome. Pharmaceuticals are a big one for that. So people who are on multiple medications notoriously have a dry mouth, and they are way higher. They get dental decay at way higher rates. And then there's the whole remineralization versus demineralization conversation I kind of touched on, but this is where, like, you hear people always say, "Oh, I'm born with soft teeth," or my parents or my grandparents had soft teeth, so I have soft teeth, and yeah, it's just nothing I can do about it. And like, what better victim story than that, right? Like, my teeth are decaying and there's nothing I can do about it. It's genetic, right? Yeah. But the truth is, it's a living structure, and depending on what you're doing, they can become hard or soft. That's what remineralization and demineralization are. Does that make sense? Like,
yeah, if I could just ask it like blatantly, is it possible to remineralize a tooth that has become demineralized?
yes, absolutely.
Good.
It's about what stage it's at. If so, demineralization happens without a cavity. So a cavity just means a hole, right? So it's actually like a depression or a hole in the tooth. If it gets to that stage, then you can't naturally regrow that, or at least I've yet to see it. Okay.
Good to know.
Yeah, but
a lot of claims out there in the health world. Oh, you can fix your own cavity. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm always open. If someone can show it to me, then I'll sing a different tune about that, but I just haven't seen it.
Okay. Good to know.
but you can remineralize it before it reaches the stage where it has become a cavity. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it becomes softer well before it cavitates.
Right. Right.
And
What
if
are the
you
primary? Mhm.
go ahead.
Do you want to get into what remineralization would look like later, or do you want to?
Yeah, like I think
No?
I start
Okay.
to touch on the next one. So
Okay.
then mouth breathing is a big one as well. There's a whole breathing side of dentistry as well, and it's pretty fascinating. So mouth breathing affects the saliva, and especially at night, right? So you can get into things like taping your mouth closed at night. I do this every night. Um, so the solutions are lifestyle. You want to eat real food versus processed food. So single ingredient food, right? Um, around 3 to 5 meals per day, I would aim for, and that gets around the snacking problem. If you optimize your sleep, your circadian rhythm, manage your stress, then you're just going to have less taxation overall on your body that is depleting you of minerals. I think Garrett kind of gets into this sort of thing too, right?
Big time, exactly. And that's why magnesium is known as the main, one of the main cures for stress or anxiety or anything
Yeah.
like that, because you consume it like crazy when you're under stress.
Yeah, your body uses minerals like a currency. And so if you're drinking alcohol, if you're doing drugs, all of these things leach you of minerals and even stress itself, right? So it's a currency game, and minerals are like the currency of our body. And if we're short, then we start to have this demineralization problem, right?
Yeah, you go into debt.
Yes, yeah. So for minerals, I tend to just like a good sea salt. I know, like for a while, I was recommending Celtic sea salt, and now there was some bad press that came out about that having lead in it and some other, bad things in it. I'm using one called Baja Gold sea salt now, and then there's Shilajit, which is really nice. It's a nice mineral substitute, and you can make a tea with it in the morning. So this is just some nice ways to get extra minerals into you. I drink all my water with sea salt.
The
Yeah,
only the only problem, if I could jump in here, Julian, is that you already pointed towards it, that there are the good things that we want in there, and unfortunately there's the bad things. So
right.
if you look at the list, you're going to end up with the arsenic and the cadmium and the manganese and the, very toxic minerals
Yeah.
and metals. Same with the shilajit. Don't tell Andrew Kaufman.
So what do you like for that then?
For salt, I go for the purest, most refined version of salt. So it's literally just sodium, and
Okay,
there's
so no other trace minerals.
no trace minerals in there
Okay.
whatsoever. But then I'm very careful to balance sodium, magnesium, potassium, and now even calcium.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are the essential ones.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, thanks.
yeah.
And then there's the whole vitamin D rabbit hole, but I think we can all agree that getting sunlight is good for you. And
The sun
you
is essential.
yes, and so you know, sunlight helps raise your vitamin D levels, and then that helps your calcium absorption, and then vitamin K2 and magnesium help. So D3 helps your absorption of calcium in your gut into your bloodstream, but then K2 and magnesium, they're the cofactors or co-drivers, and they help the calcium go into the bones and the teeth rather than stay in the bloodstream. So this is the piece that's sometimes missing, where people know, it's important to get vitamin D, but if you want the calcium to go to the right place in your body, you also need K2 and magnesium, and this is the same for teeth. And
And I
then
have to jump in here,
yeah, yeah,
Julian, and just, and yeah, I bet you expected it, but the vitamin D3, I just want it for the record that it is exactly the same as rat poison. That's what
I know.
there's a product decon. And then I personally, I can't prove this. I have no receipts for this yet, but I don't think what's happening in our body is actually vitamin D3. They are giving us vitamin D3, which
20,
is rat
yeah,
poison.
25 hydroxy vitamin D that's the one we test for if we get a blood test for it.
Okay. Yeah. So never take that supplement. Never, ever take that supplement, but go out of your way to get sunlight. And then in the winter here, I started a tanning bed and I did way better last winter with
With
just,
UVB bulbs, right?
exactly.
Yeah, which I
Yeah.
have here. I have it down here.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we don't need to get too far into it. Obviously sunlight is ideal. It's just when you're living in northern latitudes or far south or whatever, then you have to figure out a way, because we don't get the UVB from the sun in the winter. And so I'm going to do the same. I'm going to get a Spurdy. There's a Spurdy UVB lamp. That's what I'm planning to use this winter.
Yeah. Same one Garrett recommends, actually.
Okay, nice. Yeah. So then, a lot of people use mouthwash, and there's like Listerine and all these things. These things are very toxic and they kill your healthy microbiome in your mouth. And so that can disrupt your microbiome in your mouth and lead to factors that would cause cavities, right? And coconut oil is kind of the preferred alternative to that, oil pulling. People are probably familiar with that. You can just do it for 5 or 10 minutes in the morning while you're like making breakfast or doing dishes or something, and you just swish it around in your mouth, extra virgin coconut oil, and then spit it out in the garbage or the waste bin instead of the sink, because it'll clog up your sink. And you'll notice. What's that?
Good tip.
Yeah, exactly. You'll notice like your teeth and your mouth feel really good after you do that, and it's supportive to your microbiome. And it's a really nice practice. And what else do I have here? Good oral hygiene. So tongue scraping is helpful. There's this nice electric toothbrush that has red light as well that helps stimulates your gums. It's called a bristle. So the link for it is over there. Water flosser is very helpful for a lot of people. I have an image of it there. Xylitol and hydroxyapatite toothpaste can be beneficial. This is one of those things where like I don't use it personally because I never had a cavity. But for someone who is having trouble getting dental cavities, then you can use some of these tools as a band-aid, and you're just trying to use something that's not toxic. And so that's where things like xylitol and hydroxyapatite can come in. You want to use those things as a tool to help you solve this tooth decay problem, and then work on all the other areas of the terrain to solve it so that maybe you don't need those band-aids anymore.
Right. Okay, good. Yeah, that was a question someone specifically had. Yeah, my friend Sandra there about hydroxyapatite.
Yeah, everyone's asking about toothpaste. It's like one of the most common questions. And like personally, I just use an Ayurvedic, no fluoride. It doesn't have any active ingredient. It's called Oramir. I think I have it on the shelf over there. I can go grab it. But
right. Does it have calcium carbonate in it?
I'd have to look. I can look after.
I bet it does. Yeah, really quick aside, but if you have a chance to catch Garrett's stream on calcium that he did on Tuesday, and he talked a lot about calcium carbonate, which turns out to be ubiquitous even in chemtrails.
Yeah.
Right, to reflect the sun, and it's gobs of research to show that you should absolutely not be taking it. Threats to the heart, the brain.
Toothpaste is not essential.
Right.
It makes us feel good. It gives our mouth that fresh feeling, but it's not doing anything for our health.
Yeah, and it might be taking away because you'll be always taking in trace amounts of that, even if you're spitting it out and stuff, eh?
Well, and a lot of the conventional toothpaste, like the ones that have whitening or tartar control, those kind of labels that you'll see, they're abrasives, right? So that's how they're whitening your teeth, is it's got like a sandy grittiness to it. And so as you're brushing your teeth, it's actually stripping away the outer layer of your enamel. And that's how it's whitening, but it's also removing healthy tooth structure.
And then, so is that the same for charcoal? You wouldn't recommend brushing with charcoal?
I don't do it. I don't know how abrasive it is.
It's very abrasive.
Careful. It's very abrasive?
It really is, yeah. And traditionally, my girlfriend, who's a hygienist, said they would not recommend it for the same reason of not recommending baking soda or those kind of things.
Right. Yeah, yeah. I can't say I would like recommend it. If you were like hell bent on doing it, I would say don't scrub it. You can maybe just like lightly put it on your teeth and let it sit there and like it's conceivably absorbing things, right? But I wouldn't want to scrub with it.
Okay. Yeah. More. I just threw mine in the garbage. I read the ingredients. Darn it, they're terrible. Like I thought it was good, but
Yeah, and let me just grab something quick.
okay, that sounds good. Yeah, and my guess is that charcoal would be a better mouthwash to because it's extremely absorptive of toxins from the mouth and
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
So I have this is a bristle, like a boar's hair bristle toothbrush.
Yeah.
I personally I don't like it. So there's this whole trend online where people are saying like the toothbrushes have microplastics and you want to avoid it. And so I ordered these and I got them. I find them way too hard, and I'm worried about people tend to brush too hard. They scrub their teeth, and you're not supposed to brush like that. And so I worry about people using something like this and then causing all kinds of gum recession and erosion of the teeth, abrasion of the teeth
Yeah.
with one of these toothbrushes. Personally, I'm not so worried about the microplastics in a toothbrush. I think it's a little bit of fear mongering online, but you're welcome to take the information as it is and do what you like, right? It's your mouth, your body. But if you are going to use something like this, make sure you are very, very gentle with it.
Right. Right. Yeah, you see people just ripping at their mouth like
Oh
like a
yeah.
machine gun.
Well,
It's
it's in
like,
the movies too. They're like going at it like and it's totally wrong.
yeah. Yeah.
I don't think this one. This is the toothpaste that I personally use.
Right.
I don't see calcium
And let me
carbonate on it,
make that
but
big
I
again.
can. There's quite a few ingredients, so I can send you after. But
Okay.
yeah,
And just to make you multitask, Kabir says they make their own toothpaste out of coconut oil, baking soda, activated charcoal, and turmeric. Uh,
nice.
yeah, but
There's a lady out of Ontario. Her website's Living Libations. Do I have her book here? No.
yeah,
She makes a nice toothpaste. She home makes all these products, and I think people probably know her. Some people on this podcast, but
right, right. Don't you think the baking soda and then the charcoal would be too abrasive? And
maybe I don't know if baking soda is actually that abrasive.
okay,
I've seen some recommendations to use baking soda instead of conventional toothpaste, and I think you're okay. I don't think it's too. It's all about how hard you're scrubbing with the brush.
right, right. You
Yeah,
also have to be careful with the carbonates because they are alkalizing, and we have a lot of alkaline. What do you call it? Fads going on that
yeah,
cancer is caused by acidity, and
right.
it's a bunch of crap. I just want to say,
Yeah,
don't listen to that. It's very sophisticated, the pH in the body, and so yeah, they make really good buffers for acids, but if you're continually ingesting, I think then that could turn into trouble. And turmeric you should never eat. That's high vitamin A. Vitamin A, very toxic, and I would never put that in my mouth as where it could absorb high
yeah.
speed like that. Just
So
my yeah.
I think like we have a tendency to get too manipulative of our body, and
Yes.
we're like it. I thought about this because you're saying about trying to manipulate the pH, right? Like so, use something that's alkalized. It's like why are we trying to hack the system? you know, like
Bingo.
yeah,
Bingo. It's exactly it. The hacking, that word is not nice. It's like
no,
you brings to mind, cutting and
and we're not
smart.
that smart. We're not that we think we're doing something good, and we really don't know what effects it's having, right?
Right, right. Yeah, turmeric is bad and wrong. You couldn't make me take it for some reason. I would buy it and not use it. It was one of those like stevia turns out to be totally poisonous, by the way.
I mean, there's you'll see people out there talking about how xylitol and hydroxyapatite aren't good. It's all about, it's compromised. Like it depends. If you're like that kid I showed earlier with the big holes in his teeth, that's a serious health condition. And so you need some tools. Like personally, I don't use hydroxyapatite and xylitol, but for someone like that, it might be helpful to them. Do you know what I mean?
Right. I just learned about xylitol too, that it helps your body deal with the ammonia that is the byproduct of the detox, the oxidation, and that's what can be contributing to hot flashes, for example, and sweats at night. So I've been using small amounts of xylitol and have had good results
That's
from
good.
that. Yeah.
Nice. All right. So the last one here is, if it's the mouth breathing issue that was on the last slide, then there's something called myofunctional therapy, which is retraining your body to breathe properly and have the right oral posture, the right tongue posture. And then there's techniques such as mouth taping. You got to be a little bit careful with that, but for some people it works really well, including myself, where you just put a piece of tape over your mouth at night. I made a couple videos about this, and so that's my Instagram, and just look for these. They'll be easy to find. I made a couple videos about these topics of breathing and mouth taping and the sleep system and all that. Were you going to say something, or?
I'm just going to share your Instagram.
Okay.
Chat there.
Do you want me to go back there, or no? You're good.
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Thanks.
So the next category here is degeneration of the bones and gums. And so this is your gum disease or periodontal disease. You might hear the term gingivitis. That's like the very early stage of this, where it's just inflammation first, and then the degeneration happens subsequent to that. So you can see in this X-ray here, the bone levels should be much higher up around the neck of the tooth, like you see on the front teeth here, and then in the back teeth it drops off. Do you see that?
It drops off.
So you can see the bone level here.
Right, exactly. The gum drops off. Yes.
The bone drops, and then just like the tips of these molars are in bone, and the rest is exposed. Do you see that?
Yeah.
And same up here. So this is some severe gum disease or periodontal disease. And it's on the same theme of degeneration. It's just, instead of the teeth degenerating, it's the bones that are supporting the teeth. So people who suffer from this condition, their teeth get loose. And, as the dentist, you can push on the teeth and you can see they move a lot. And, they get to a point where they're just like dangling in there.
Darn.
So I just circled those all here in case anyone needs some help seeing it. Here's another diagram about it. So on the upper left, you have kind of a diagram of what a healthy tooth and gums look like. Then stage 1 is gingivitis, and you start to get inflammation of the gums. And then periodontitis is the next one, where you start to actually get some loss of bone and gums, and then a severe or advanced periodontitis, where it's like the image I showed you before, where just the tips of the teeth are still in bone and the rest of the tooth is exposed. And then you can see in this photograph here what this looks like in someone's mouth, where the teeth, they start to look longer, right? Because the gums and everything in the bones are receding, and the teeth don't have as much support anymore.
Yeah, long in the tooth is one of the words for getting older. Yeah.
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 So the causes of this are, it's that inflammation story, right? So it's like the leaky gut, leaky gum is kind of the same thing. And I still think it's nutrient and mineral deficiency. And then I lean a little bit more towards like collagen and protein being important in maintaining these tissues, right? Your body needs to get the building blocks somewhere to maintain all of your tissues. And you can we all know what someone looks like when they're emaciated, when they're just like, their whole body is just degenerating and they're losing muscle and bone density and everything. They just look frail. And it's the same thing with the bones of the jaw and the gums. So, and then what we were talking about before, nutrient depletion, mineral depletion from stress, alcohol, drugs, smoking, those are big factors in gum disease. Poor oral hygiene, and I like to stress it's not genetics. I really like to, because that's the first thing people point to, and they go, "Oh, it's just your genetics." It's like, I don't think your ancestors would have survived very long if genetically your teeth were falling out.
Right. Could I jump in with a question that I don't know if this applies or not, but when people are grinding their teeth, which, by the way, if people don't know, is one of the clear signs of copper toxicity, and this has completely disappeared for me as I slowly
Were you
detox
used to grinding
copper.
teeth?
Unbelievably,
Wow.
I've broken them. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, and ground. I don't have points on my canines anymore. And so someone is curious, would grinding your teeth cause the degeneration and loss of gums?
It can. It's an over, too much force on the system can cause damage,
Right,
basically, right?
right.
Whether it's to the teeth or it's to the bones and gums underneath. The other, I didn't know about the copper connection there, but the other thing we see, and I'll show you some pictures, is it's related to the breathing problem. So sleep apnea, for example, someone who has sleep apnea and they're not getting enough air while they're sleeping, they will tend to grind their teeth. And it's like, if you can see my video, it's like trying to tense up all the tissues that are collapsing on the airway, preventing airflow. It's trying to tense things up, and you clench your teeth to do it, to open up the airway. And if you've ever slept next to someone who's a bad snorer and has sleep apnea, you actually hear them suffocating in the middle of the night, right?
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
Where they
exactly.
choke. They're choking because the airway collapses and they're not getting any air, and then they gasp. They, after like maybe 20 or 30 seconds of trying to get air, then they go right.
That's it. Yeah, I know someone who woke up screaming, very severe sleep apnea. And then it's taken me a huge long time to figure it out, but I have some version of that. Like if I fall asleep on my back, that's exactly what happened. It happens. The whole thing will collapse, and I'll wake up instantly because I need to breathe.
Yeah.
And so if I don't sleep on my side, then that's what happens. But yeah.
So that's kind of the video here. I have some exercises you can do to improve that, to improve the posture of the tongue and the muscle tone. And it can help if you're not too severe.
Right. Right.
Where am
And
I?
then guess what? I have to answer this chat. Is the VA says grinding teeth can be a parasite sign. Parasites are a sign of metal toxicity. Parasites are not the problem, but you're onto it because grinding teeth is very often a copper toxicity, heavy
Yeah,
metal.
I'm everyone's like so hot on the parasite topic now, and
Yeah, you guys, that's a very dangerous zone. Sorry, Julian.
yeah,
Very dangerous. You kill the parasites, you've actually killed the cure to the metal poisoning.
yeah, I've seen those studies that show like the parasites actually helping you clean up metals, right?
Yeah, and when the metals are gone, so are the parasites. We need them.
It's the terrain, exactly. That's the shift, right?
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Parasites is just another take on germ theory.
That's right. That's right. And you're onto it, VAs, about the zinc being locked out. Iron, I'm not sure though.
But this is honestly like, this is where I'd really love to collaborate with someone like Garrett or maybe Andy Kaufman or something, because you know I'm the dental expert, and I don't want to pretend like I know everything about on the medical side of things. And I think there's some really important connections that can be made here between someone like me and someone like Garrett or something, right?
Exactly. That's my dream.
Yeah, yeah. Um, so I think that covers everything on that one. So some solutions: identify the root cause of the inflammation, look at your diet first, ensure adequate nutrition, particularly protein. I don't know what you're following. With our patients, especially the ones that are going into surgery, and they're gonna need to regenerate a lot of bone and gum tissue and everything. I put them on a program with 1 gram per pound of body weight of protein. That tends to work really well.
Oh yeah.
And then the vitamin D, K2, magnesium is important for maintaining healthy bones, and including your jaw bones and your gums and everything.
But don't take the supplements of vitamin D. I'll
Yeah.
just say it again, okay? I don't want to mislead anybody here.
Yeah. And then oral hygiene, same thing we talked about before. For the water flosser really comes into play here. So you can even put a cap full of hydrogen peroxide in the water basin, and that's helpful when you're cleaning in between the teeth. And then a professional cleaning. There's this new technology now that's out of Switzerland as well that we've implemented in the office, and it's really nice. It's a much more gentle teeth cleaning. So this is showing the old methods, and where they poke around in the gums and cause bleeding and like break the barriers, the mucus barriers that are actually preventing things from getting inside your system.
Yeah.
And then all of the scaling, scraping of the teeth, like scraping at the enamel, right, can be very, very aggressive, teeth cleaning. And so that's what I really like about this new technology is it's going to show it in a second. It uses powder and water and air as like a very gentle power washer to clean the teeth. And so you're not using these sharp, aggressive instruments, and you're using like a,
Oh,
right? Was that you?
yeah. Just watching that.
That's just a polisher. That's how they polish your teeth conventionally, right?
It caused so much damage doing that. That's unbelievable. I always think there should be a mirror right in front of you when a dentist does any work, because if you saw how gory it was, you'd probably want to stop that.
So this is the GBT, guided biofilm therapy. So you disclose to see where the biofilm's actually there, and then that's the powder and water spray, cleaning all of the stain and tartar and calculus off the teeth. And so it's a lot gentler. So that's what I like about it.
And this is something that like a consumer can get for themselves?
No, it's for professional
Okay.
use, but this link at the bottom here is the company's directory, so you can easily find a dentist in your area. They're all over. So
Yeah.
you can find a dentist who's employing this technology, and that kind of gives you a good indication that they're going to be just more like-minded in general, and they're investing in these kind of things, and they're implementing, some of these more innovative technologies in dentistry. That's one thing in dentistry that's amazing now is the technology. We love the technology. It's really helped catapult dentistry forward.
Right.
So
That's so good. Quick thing on flossing. Is it just a psyop torture? You really need to do that?
So it's another nuance. All of these things are like, what I want people to take away from this is you hear all of these hot button things, and it's very black and white, and really they need more of a nuanced conversation. So that's true about root canals and flossing as well. Personally, I don't floss that much. Maybe once a week, like if I feel like I have some food stuck between my teeth.
Wow.
The problem is people don't have the right technique. And so they can actually cause damage. If you're not careful, you can cause damage to your gums if you're flossing aggressively. So you want to wrap the floss around your middle fingers, and then you use you pull it tight, and then you use your index fingers or your thumbs to guide the floss, and you really got to slide it through. You don't want to snap it through and cause the gums to bleed. That being said, it depends on the patient. If you have a lot of fillings and crowns and all kinds of dental work in your mouth, then you need to clean between the teeth, because there's going to be little gaps and ledges and stuff that plaque and everything get trapped on, and so you've got to clean it somehow. I like the water flosser. That works really well. Some people like to floss, and I'm okay with it. I just want to make sure you use the right technique and you're gentle and you're not snapping it through to cut your gums, and you're not going too deep, because that's going to cut the gums as well. Like the gums form an attachment to your teeth. And when you go too deep with floss, it's compromising that attachment. And it's kind of like that leaky gut, leaky gum thing. And now you've opened up an entryway inside your body from your mouth, right?
Okay. Okay.
Um,
And the bleeding gums also, is that a given that that's periodontal disease?
that's gingivitis.
Gingivitis.
That's
One of
the
the
early
first
stage.
stages.
That's the early stage inflammation.
Got it. Got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was listening to someone talk about taking K2 for that, and it wasn't working for them.
Yeah. It's going to be more to it than that.
Yeah.
And it might be like, we said before, animals in nature don't need a dentist, but we in the modern world, like, most of us are eating some processed food, and we're not living like, humans in nature would have lived. And so we still get buildup on our teeth and stuff. And so that's why it's helpful to go get your teeth cleaned every once in a while with, something like this, because it is reducing the overall, bacterial load on the teeth, which they do cause some inflammation of the gums. And just the food and tartar and calculus buildup that can be there, that is sometimes what's causing the inflammation. So that's why I say oral hygiene is important, right?
You're right. Exactly. Okay, good I'll bring your presentation up here. Yeah.
So now we're into the toxification topic. So the first one is metals. So we have all kinds of types of metals used in dentistry conventionally. So there's the classic amalgam, which is 50% mercury. So that's what's shown in these pictures here. Then we have titanium, like in implants. Then there's gold. There's stainless steel. A lot of people have those bars after they've had orthodontic or braces, orthodontic treatment. And so you'll have a metal bar bonded to the back of your teeth to prevent the teeth from moving. And those can sometimes, leach metals into your body. There's another metal called chromium cobalt, another alloy. There's all kinds of metals used in dentistry. That's just the point I'm trying to get across here. And then
so would you not recommend braces then?
Again, it's another nuanced conversation. Sometimes it's necessary. Like, we're going to get into that later of why do people need braces. But yeah, I think you'll get that question answered.
Okay.
So the problems with metals is there's toxicity of metals. There's a corrosion element. So you can see on the right here, there's this rusty propeller, and sometimes this can happen in the mouth with the metals in the mouth. Then there's electrical phenomena and disruptions that can occur. As you know, our bodies are electric. We're electric beings. And so when you put metals in there, it can interfere with the electrical system. And then there's the EMFs now. So when you have a metal in your body, it acts as an antenna. So, it's not bad enough that we're always surrounded by all these wireless frequencies and Wi-Fi and 3G, 4G, 5G. But now you've got something in your body that is an antenna pulling in more of those frequencies and exposing more of that to your cells, right? So there's studies that show, like, when you take a cell phone call and you've got a metal in your mouth, that it amplifies the amount of EMFs that you're exposed to. So that's something we deal with now too. Like in the 90s, this wasn't such a problem. Like if you had a metal dental restoration, probably you'd be okay from an EMF standpoint, right?
Right. Yeah, that's one of the theories behind the copper toxicity and why copper is really pushed in the alt health world.
Interesting.
Yep, because it makes us antennas. It causes tinnitus. Exactly. Like I hear the copper every night when everything is completely quiet. I hear it. Yeah, it's got a brightness. Yep. Yeah, okay. It can even flash light at times.
Right.
I'm aware of it. Yeah.
It sounds crazy, but there's actually documented cases of people who could pick up radio stations with their teeth.
I don't disbelieve.
They could hear them. Yeah.
I do not disbelieve. And then the phenomena of people hearing voices. We're going to talk to Andy about that with psychiatric drugs and everything. And to what degree have they manipulated so we are antennas for the stupid things to come through?
Yeah. I had a patient when I was just starting as a dentist come in and tell me he's hearing voices and everything, and I had no idea how to help him. But anyway,
Right.
that was like 10 years ago. Anyway, so I'm just going to throw this up here. I'm not going to read it. There's this process called galvanic corrosion when you have two different metals connected in solution. So that's what often happens in dentistry. You've got, one type of metal over on one side, another type on the other side, and then you've got your saliva, which is the perfect conductive element, and then you create a electrical current between the two, and then metals leaching from one to the other.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's another thing. Oh my goodness.
And any engineer, my cousin is an engineer, and I was talking to him, but he's like, yeah, of course. Like, what do you, obviously that's going to happen. And I'm like, interesting. Well, I don't know why we don't learn that in dental school, but okay. So this is an example of that. This tooth over here, you can see the corrosion that's happened. So down here, that's the normal color of the metal of the dental amalgam. And then here where it's black, it's had this corrosive process happening.
Right. And I think everybody's seen the video where they take a Q-tip to a mercury amalgam and it poofs.
Gases. Yeah.
Yeah. Like never mind when you chew or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or when you remove them. So that's what this slide is about. So when you remove them, it's also a very crucial time where you're releasing all kinds of stuff from it, especially the mercury gas. So when you're getting your amalgams removed, you want the person doing it to follow these protocols to do it as safe as possible and protect you from what's coming out of the tooth. So this picture, it's called the SMART protocol, Safe Mercury Amalgam Removal Technique, and that's the IAOMT, International Academy of Oral Medicine and Toxicology. So they've got a directory, and the dentists they've certified in this technique, they're on the directory. And this picture here shows you want to cover the patient so that even the skin isn't exposed. And then you have one of these high volume air evacuated HEPA filters that is, sucking the air coming out of the mouth, right?
Right. Yeah, it wasn't quite that extreme when I had mine removed, but
did they use one of these dams at least?
Yes.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good, then you're not swallowing the stuff.
Yeah, and they were fully masked up with respirators and everything to avoid their own.
Did they put something on your nose so you can breathe air that's like from somewhere else?
No.
So that's another thing you can do, because your nose is right under there, and so the fumes can get through. So what we do is we put like an oxygen mask and then have them breathing air. It actually is better just to breathe room air than pure oxygen. Pure oxygen helps open up the blood-brain barrier, so then what you are exposed to now can more easily get into the brain. So that's the SMART protocol. They advocate for using oxygen, and since then I've learned that you're better off just having a tube connected and put it somewhere else, not near the mouth, and they're just breathing air from somewhere else, right?
And are you going to talk about also what they replaced it with? Like, is this just another metal? I asked them, what are the ingredients of that? They said, oh, it's proprietary. We don't know.
Well, no, you can look up. They probably, if they did another filling, like the two things that could have been done where they could have done a crown or a new filling. So if it's a crown, most of the crowns are ceramic now, which are quite compatible with the body. The fillings, like the white filling material, is called composite or composite in Canada. Yeah. But it's sometimes they have BPA. That's one of the issues. So you can get BPA free dental composite. So that's what I use. Even if it has the BPA, it's still 100 times less toxic than the mercury.
Oh, good.
Yeah. And it's not a metal. It's definitely not a metal.
Right, right. And just so you know, we do not consent. They don't take the tooth out when they're removing a filling unless there's some extreme damage, I'm assuming.
What do you mean they don't take the? What do you mean?
Like I had my fillings removed, but they didn't take the teeth.
You mean they didn't extract the teeth?
That's it.
Yeah, right. You ideally you want to keep your teeth.
Ideally. Yeah, let's
Yeah.
go there. Yeah, yeah, let's do that. They also were asking, or someone was asking about gapes in the teeth. Like, and I can see, I have spaces I never had before. And is there any fix for that of any kind?
Spaces between the teeth?
Yeah,
Yeah. It depends why. Sometimes it's because of that degeneration of the bone and the gums,
yeah,
and the support has gotten weak, and then the teeth start to move. Um, or it could be some kind of postural thing. It could be your tongue. Like some people, when they swallow, they have a tongue thrust. Your tongue shouldn't thrust forward when you swallow, but if it does, imagine every single time you're swallowing, your tongue is pushing on your teeth and it's pushing them out. And so if your teeth move out, now spaces can open up between them. So it could be a postural or behavioral thing as well. Um, if it's something that really bothers you, like you can get Invisalign or something and move the teeth back, and then you probably, if you have a tongue thrust, you probably have to do something to correct that. That's where that myofunctional therapy comes in. And then you might even have to wear a retainer to prevent your teeth from moving again, right?
right. Wow.
But yeah, it's very individual. It's hard to answer some questions, like because there's different answers depending on the specific situation.
Right.
Here we've got, what's that?
That's reality. It's not a protocol world.
Exactly.
It turns out.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here is some titanium implants that were not doing so well, and this patient was having some health issues. He had lymphoma, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and so there's some studies that show titanium particles showing up in the lymph nodes. So in his case, we decided to remove his titanium implants, and so that's what that looks. This is what they looked like just on their own. I didn't remove anything here. Just you can see the bone loss that was occurring and inflammation around them. This here shows some of what we do to clean the bone after you've either removed a tooth or removed an implant, or you've treated a wisdom tooth cavitation or something like that. So this is another one of these nice technological advancements that helps us do a much better job cleaning infection in the jawbone. In this case, we replaced his titanium implants with ceramic implants. So that's us putting in the new implants. I know it's kind of graphic for some people, but I know your audience is very high level, so I think they can.
Yeah, you see, like I took myself out because I'm doing this. Like,
Yeah.
don't look. It's so weird.
Then this is another really cool modality that we use. It's called PRF. It stands for platelet-rich fibrin. So we're able to make wound dressings basically out of your own tissue. So we draw your blood, we spin it in a centrifuge, and then it makes these gels. And then we can put those back into the surgical site, and it really helps enhance the healing. So what we're doing here is we're concentrating stem cells and growth factors from your blood and putting them back into the surgical site to bring more healing cells to the area.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it's really cool. And it's really cool to be able to make these types of products out of the patient's own body. And so it's going to be compatible,
Amazing.
Yeah. So this is something you can look for. So if you end up needing a tooth extraction, then I call it a biological tooth extraction, where they're using some of these things. They're using an ultrasonic to clean the socket after the tooth's been taken out. And then they're using PRF. And you can also use ozone, which is a really nice way to disinfect once you've taken out an infected tooth, right?
Good. Someone asked about that. Yeah, it's on my list.
Yeah. And so these are things you want to ask about when you're interviewing prospective dentists. to see how they're doing things. So the next area of toxification is infected root canals. So I like to make the distinction, because not all root canals are infected. Okay, like it's another one of these things that gets a lot of blame gets put on root canals, and I'm in agreement for the most part, but there's a big difference between a root canal that has a huge infection and one that was just done. If you just had a root canal done, it takes a few years before bacteria can get back into the tooth and you can start to see maybe some health issues. So I don't want to fear monger. I don't want to say that like, oh, everyone who has a root canal, you need to go get it taken out. Like that's not the message that I want to give in this presentation. It's just information. It's just education. So this is the case I showed before where we had the construction site in the body. And so we have a big infection here that definitely needs to be dealt with, even from a conventional dentistry standpoint. What I wanted to show here is this is the tooth next to it. It looks okay from an X-ray standpoint, but because this patient has health issues, he has prostate cancer, like we said, I talked him into letting me take this one out too. And when I show the tooth, this is the tooth. It's this black one, and that's the one that looked okay on the X-ray. Oh. So it's just kind of startling, like what you see sometimes when you take out these teeth. And this is what they looked like extracted. This is the one that looked okay on the X-ray. But this is really where I like to go with the conversation of, look, if you're having health issues, then get these things in your mouth looked at. And it's definitely something that could be contributing to your overall health. And if you're dealing with something like cancer, then to me it's just like, yeah, get the tooth out, get it done properly with the biological extraction protocol. Same thing here. Go ahead.
I was just going to quickly say, I wonder to the degree that, I went through my whole cancer regime treatments and nearly dying, going on 25 years ago now. And I never looked at the mouth one little bit. Yeah. There was actually one healer that said, I wonder if it's something about the mouth. And then, so I survived, but I've continuously been trying to detox. Now I know, like, I survived cancer. I didn't heal from it. I'm still doing that job. So but finally the metal's out of my mouth at least.
And you have to look at the mouth. That's the message from like this group of dentists that I'm associated with now. And I've been giving some presentations now to doctors, to functional medicine practitioners and naturopathic doctors, to show them the same things I'm showing you now, that you might have a patient sitting across from you and you're trying to help them with all these chronic health issues. You need to be aware of what could be in their mouth that could be, contributing to their overall health status. And so I gave these doctors a list of questions to ask their patients. Do you have any metals in your mouth? Do you have any root canals? Did you have your wisdom teeth extracted? Have you had braces? All these kind of things, right?
Yeah. Are you going to talk about wisdom teeth, by the way? I
Yes.
don't want to interrupt you. Okay,
yes.
We'll leave that then.
So here's just another quick case. This is a dental hygienist that ended up finding me, coming to see me. She's got a bunch of, these are the root canal teeth, right? They're the ones with the white filling material in the nerves. So she's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. She was having all this inflammation issues. So chronically inflamed knees and ankles that landed her in the ER. And she saw a couple specialists and they told her she had arthritis. They ruled out any autoimmune issue, which, I don't even know if we agree with autoimmune, right? But then she was just given classic antibiotics and steroids to manage, right? And so she started seeing me in 2023 and we started working through, these issues in her mouth. Same kind of situation here. You've got the severely infected one on the left, the one that looks okay. And I gave this presentation to a room full of dentists, conventional dentists, and I showed them this and I'm like, how do you think this tooth looks? And they're like, it looks good. It looks pretty good to me. I'm like, yeah, I agree. But I took it out and this is what it looked like. And it's like gangrenous, right? It's like it's like totally rotting. And I asked the dentist, I'm like, well, do you want that in your body? And everyone's like, no, I don't want that in my body. You know what I mean?
Right.
So the conversations are happening, and I think in the next 10, 20 years, we're going to see a big shift in the right direction. This is another good guy to follow on social media, Dr. Kelly Blodgett. He sends every root canal tooth that he takes out for analysis, and then they always find hundreds of different species of pathogens inside of these teeth. And so it's just a really good kind of scientific way to show what's happening on the inside of these teeth. This is a really good podcast with him that you can look up. And this is another really good guy to follow. This is the guy I did a lot of training with in Germany, Dr. Nischwitz, and he's got a very prolific social media presence. He's spreading this message far and wide, and he's probably the most notable dentist in this space. So that's there for you. This is the hygienist I was telling you about. So we replaced her teeth with ceramic implants. And what I love about this picture is it shows how healthy the gums are around the ceramic. So I love to see this. I have one of these in my own mouth now, and there's just no inflammation caused by this material. It's just inert to the body. The body sees it as something neutral, and it doesn't see it as a foreign material. So that's what's really cool about what we can do in dentistry now. We can replace teeth with a material that doesn't trigger the immune system. And
that's awesome.
Yeah. And what else did I want to say about that? So there's another cool thing, another conversation I like to have is that we didn't have these techniques and materials 20 years ago. Like these implants have been around just about 10 years in Europe, and they just started with them in the US in 2020. And so it's not the worst thing that, for me, for example, I had a root canal on my front tooth for 27 years. I'm grateful that I had it and that I was able to keep the tooth for that long, and that it gave time for the technology and the materials to catch up. And then I was able to get one of these beautiful, biologically compatible neutral materials as the replacement. If I ran and got my tooth extracted 10 years ago, I would have ended up with a titanium implant, and I'd be sitting here today wanting to take that one out. Do you know what I mean? So the root canal is sometimes a really good way to buy yourself time. Maybe it's finances. Maybe you can't afford this treatment right away. So a root canal might be the right thing to do in the moment to buy yourself time to get it done right,
Yeah. Yeah, really good. All the truth is highly nuanced.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. I did that too. Like 2020, I just threw the whole baby out with the bathwater, and it turns out some of the stuff was not bad, right?
Right. Yeah, Em just said had 2 siblings with implants, both had trouble, a lot of money, and but don't know the details.
Yeah. So here's just next stage of this same patient here. So we attach these ceramic posts on, and then we make teeth to go on over top. So that's how that works. And so she's got her teeth restored, right? The really cool thing though is all her inflammation in her knees and ankles went away. So she has no more swelling on her ankles and knees. She doesn't have to go slowly or cautiously up and down the stairs. She can cross her legs without discomfort. And she can wear sandals now. That was a big thing for her, right? So that was pretty cool. And she was early on in my transition into this. So I wasn't even treating her for these other things. And I don't treat these other things. That's what I want to make evident too. I treat infection in the jaw, right? And then the whole system is connected, and that's why we can see great healing responses happen. But I'm not treating your chronic disease. I'm treating oral infection, right? It's
Right.
just when you put the body in a state where it can heal and there's no longer these chronic triggers, then the body can heal. The body's amazing at healing, right?
Yeah, it's what it does best.
Yeah.
all day long.
This is my tooth. So this just shows another example. This is a one-piece implant. So in the front, we're able to use these one-piece ones where then you can glue, cement a crown on over top. Whereas the ones I showed before, this is a two-piece that we connect. I don't want the patient chewing on this during the healing phase. So we leave it without a tooth on it initially, and then we connect these posts, and then we cement teeth on after. So they're functionally the same. It's just two different ways to do it. Here's another example. This just shows how beautifully these ceramic implants can recreate what we're trying to do. Back to the biomimetic thing, we're trying to recreate nature in the best way possible with our materials we have available. So this picture just shows we've really replaced teeth, and you can see how healthy the gums are. You have this very nice shape of the gums that we're going to be able to mimic what she has naturally.
Right. That natural arch structure.
Yes, the scalloping. Okay, now we're into the whole wisdom tooth and cavitation topic here. So a lot of people have had their wisdom teeth out. It's like one of the main, maybe 80% of people get their wisdom teeth out. When you take a tooth out, you're left with the socket. And then in an ideal world, what should happen is your body fills in that space in the bone with new bone, right? And unfortunately, because of many of these things we've been talking about, these deficiencies and other things in our modern life, this doesn't happen so well. And so people are left with these chronic lesions inside the jawbone where the extraction sites didn't heal properly. So it's most commonly seen in the wisdom tooth areas. So that's these red areas back here, where then you can end up with something like this in the jawbone, and it's a big problem. So here's an example. This is, you can see in the x-ray. Do you see the areas where the bone looks darker versus you have more white, we call it radio opaque. So it's like a white appearance on the x-ray. In one of these areas where the bone didn't heal properly, it looks black. And essentially it means it's kind of a hole in there. There's no good bone that's mineralized into that space. So these lesions end up releasing all kinds of inflammatory mediators. And so you can actually test in these patients, it's been done a lot in the studies for these things, where patients who have these present, they've got these inflammatory markers elevated all the time in their system. So this one's the famous one for dental cavitations. It's called Rantes. It's also known as CCL5. And the other one is FGF2. These are the ones that we see elevated. We don't regularly test for this. Not that easy to test for these things, but it's just what's been done in the background research of this problem. I also want to make sure I make a distinction between the word cavitation. We're referring to it as a cavitation inside the bone. It's different than a cavity in a tooth.
Got it.
Sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So here's
Could I come back to actually a really important question, since we're talking terrain? And so when you're talking about cleaning up infection, how does that can change with the terrain theory, right? The presence of bacteria. Someone said aren't bacteria.
Yeah. Okay. So do you know Dr. Jennifer Daniels?
Yeah.
Okay. So she put this the best. There's all this, talk about the immune system and whether or not it exists and all this, right? But on the most basic level, the immune system is to keep what's outside out and to keep what's inside in. So that's why we have thick skin with keratin that doesn't let a lot of things in from the outside. That's why we have our gut lining. That's why we have our gums in our mouth. And when we talk about leaky gut or leaky gums, now those barriers are opened up, and now stuff from the outside that we don't want to get in can get in, right? So that's how I like to think about this. It's not that these things are causing the problem. It's just we've got barriers, we've got walls in our body to prevent certain things from being able to get in. And then when we have a wide open space, now anything can get in. And that ends up leading to systemic inflammation. At least that's how my brain thinks about it.
Right. Great.
So even though like bacteria aren't necessarily bad, there's a place where we want them to be, and a place where we don't want them to be. And in this case, maybe the bacteria are there helping mitigate. Okay, like that's totally possible. It's just there's a difference between this area of the bone and this area of the bone, which is healthy.
Right, right. And do you use antibiotics at all in your practice?
A little bit. So that's another thing I want to talk to, like either an Andy Kaufman or Garrett Smith, like, because I question everything. So, there's a certain way I learned to do all this stuff, and it includes antibiotics. I take a different approach. I actually give the antibiotics intravenous. So I start an IV and I give it through the vein, and that way I bypass the gut, and then I don't wipe out the healthy gut, microbiome and the healthy gut flora. And I only do one dose usually right before the surgery. And that's, I've done lots of cases where the patient prefers not to do it, and I'm fine with that. And I just say, the recommendation is to do it because there's a small chance that you get an infection and you can have a failure of the surgery, but ultimately it's informed consent. And if they don't want to do it, I'm okay with it, and we skip it. And I haven't had a problem yet.
Right.
Yeah.
Good.
So yeah, I definitely, that's one of the things I'm open to changing, and maybe there's no need for it at all. It's just, I don't want to be this renegade, like making up all my own protocols. Like the guys who I trained with in Europe, they have the same overall philosophy on health, and they've helped so many people heal and get better and heal from their chronic issues that, I've taken what they've done and it's working really well. And yeah, are there places where we can make some small changes to make things even better? Of course. But it's we're on the right track. I guess let's say that.
Nice. Thanks for that.
Here's a little video that shows what one of these wisdom tooth sites looks like when we go in. So you can see all this fat. So see the oil droplets? Or maybe you don't want to watch, but there's all this fatty deposit inside the bone, and we shouldn't have fat inside of our jawbone. So that's one of the compensation mechanisms that the body is using. When it can't grow new bone, it deposits fat in there, and that's trying to store the toxins that are in there and just protect us from them. But ultimately, it's still not great to have that in there.
You don't
want
that.
Here's what one of those globules of fat looks like.
Wow. Oh, that's so cool for the crossover. Yeah. Cross-pollination of these two fields. Yeah.
Exactly.
So cool to know. Wow.
And this chart here shows the blood work between someone who should be at a normal level, and it's real patients. This is like 1,000 patients. The ones that had these lesions, they have the elevated RANTES or CCL5 and the FGF2, and then the interleukin as well. And then the blue is the normal level. So this is one way we can quantify what might be happening differently in someone's body who has these lesions going on. And then you can retest after you've remediated the issue, and you'll want to see these levels have dropped, right? So these are markers of chronic inflammation. They're normal. If you get an injury, if you get a cut on your arm or something like that, your body will naturally upregulate these things, but they're supposed to go up, you're supposed to heal, and then they go back down. But when you have these unhealed lesions in the jaw, it never heals, and these levels remain high. Then this is the meridians, right? So a lot of people know about the meridians and how our teeth are connected to other parts of our body. And so this chart is a really cool way to correlate where in your mouth, if you have an infection, whether it's a tooth or infected root canal, or if it's cavitation, we can, and we do this in the office, we give them one of these handouts, we circle the tooth, and then we tell them, okay, does anything along this column associated with this tooth correlate to your health problems? Like, do you have an issue in your shoulder or your elbow? Okay, that could correlate to this tooth, right?
Okay, so, incredible. Can people get that chart?
Yes. If you go, I'll share the link. On my website, I have a resource page. So if you go canadabiohealth.com, then you'll find resources, and then there's 8 or 9 different PDFs there, and this one is one of them.
Okay.
I can send the link after.
Yeah, I can show people later too.
This is the study that they used to determine how, anatomically what actually falls on which meridian. So they used electroacupuncture to do this. And this chart over here is just a more simplified version of the same thing. So this is another one of these cavitations. So you can see the darkened area on the X-ray here. That's where there's no mineralization of the bone. This is the plate of bone that we removed here. And you can see all the fat deposited on the underside of the bone. And then we cleaned it out, and you can see there's just a big hole inside the jawbone here. We made a larger incision here because we were doing implants for her as well. Normally when you treat these, you don't have to make such a big cut. This is the same patient as the one before. Her name's Carol. I did a video of her on my YouTube. She had an amazing healing response after we did her treatment. She had all this inflammation go away. She had joint inflammation. She had this weird symptom of this tightness along her right side of her body that went away. She lost 5 pounds of retained water in the month or so after surgery. And she tells us her story in this video here. So if you just search my name and write Carol, you should find it on YouTube. This goes through, why does this happen? So again, nutritional deficiency results in poor healing. In order to build new healthy bone, the body needs the right building blocks to be able to do this properly. And this is, vitamins, minerals, proteins, micronutrients, macronutrients. So that the 1 gram per pound of body weight of protein, that's an important factor. So I have my patients on a high protein diet after surgery so that they've got lots of material to build with. You want to be anabolic. So there's anabolic state and catabolic state. So anabolic means your body is in a state ready to build, grow, repair. Same as if you wanted to build muscle. If you're lifting weights and you're trying to build up muscle in your body, you need to be anabolic. So we follow the same principles for nutrition as if you were trying to build muscle, essentially. And the
catabolic state?
Catabolic is, thank you. I needed that. So it's your body is breaking down. You don't have enough to sustain maintenance of your tissues. And especially when you have a surgery, for example, we're demanding a lot more of your body in terms of repair and healing. And so if you're in a catabolic state or nutritional deficiency status, you're just not going to have the right materials to be able to heal properly.
Yeah, that's living and dying right there. Yeah. I had no words for it, but I could tell the difference. Yeah.
And so sometimes the conversation I have with patients, I had one today, and we're going to do this cavitation surgery for her. She doesn't eat enough. And so we're talking about it, and I'm going through with her. I'm like, you need to eat at least 1,800 calories a day just for your maintenance. And, I'm showing her what that would look like. And she's like, wow, I don't eat nearly that. And I'm like, yeah, you've got to really eat more.
Yeah, let's make eating popular again, because
Yes.
that's the whole thing. Everybody's into the fasting and the intermittent fasting, and I don't need to eat, or 1 meal a day. It's all crap. You can't detox that way. There's absolutely no way to detox, because it's eating that causes you to create bile. Bile is what allows you to move poison out of your body. I'm
And
sorry,
bind
I'm
the
gonna
bile,
go on a
right?
limb here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And especially
Totally.
the protein, right? Many women have changed their lives just by eating enough protein, because especially us, for some reason, we're all delicate and we only, this
Yeah.
little much of, yeah.
I got screwed up from that line of thinking too, like the fasting, the intermittent fasting, and I wouldn't eat breakfast. I would, sometimes not eat lunch, and I would eat a big dinner or whatever. And it screwed up my metabolism big time. And
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, now I flipped it. Now I try to eat all my meals like during the daytime, and maybe have a small dinner. And that alone has helped me a lot. Like, it's helped me get in better shape, actually.
Nice.
Yeah. So where are we here? Yeah, just we'll just touch on some of the same things we did before with the vitamin D from the sun, K2, magnesium, um, vitamin C. I know that one's kind of iffy now too.
Yeah. You don't want vitamin C unless you want to shut down what could be life-threatening detox moment.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. You don't want antioxidants at all.
Just the one thing, and I'd like to talk to Garrett about, is there's some situations where I wonder if there's like in a growing child, for example, like is there a different, the vitamin A thing? Do we know that like a growing baby doesn't need it at all? Do you know what I mean? And I think of that in the context of healing from surgery too. It's like, maybe some of these things play a role in let's say bone regeneration, whereas in daily maintenance you don't need it. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
That's one of the questions I have.
I shouldn't have been so strong in my claim there, but especially the degree to which we feel like we are always needing vitamin C. And every time you get a little, like the proof is in when you use vitamin C, it's always because you have a little sore throat, or you're getting a little
Yeah.
sniffle, or you're feeling a little down or something like that. And you dose enough vitamin C, guess what? The symptoms go away and you think you've healed because of the vitamin C. But all it's done is stopped your ALDH system, the aldehyde dehydrogenase system, from detoxing. And then you feel better and you think you're better, but you're not. You've just delayed the detox.
Yeah.
So there are times for that, but is it?
Yeah, that's the nuance thing, right? It's like I wouldn't want to just blanket statement everything, because it's situational, right?
Right, but if it's not serious, you should allow your body to detox. It's where it's life-threatening.
Totally.
Or you just have to. I had to travel while I was sick, so I used vitamin C, dosed it at that time.
Yeah, like I tell my patients, like, after we've taken out all these things from your mouth that your body doesn't want there, it's very normal to get sick in the weeks afterward. And I tell them, this is good. Your body's detoxing. Support it through it. Don't try to block it. And that's a hard one. Like, for people who aren't on this wave of wavelength of thinking, I've really got to coach them through that and say, like, they'll message me like, I got really sick. I'm like, no, that's okay. Like, that's healthy. Right.
Right. To a degree though, because it's a sign of cholestasis, right? If you got the throat infection, or you got the headaches, or you got the nausea, or you got the backaches and the body chills, that's a sign that the bile broke out of the system, the intrahepatic system, and is in the blood.
Yeah.
Right. So then it is.
Well, and that's kind of where I lean on, either naturopathic doctors or functional medicine or something. There's some patients who need help detoxing. It's not enough just to take the things out of the mouth. They need someone who's going to guide them through, a program essentially to help detox efficiently. So Some people are healthy enough they can do it on their own. Some people need a little bit more help.
Right. Right. Exactly.
So I'm sure Garrett's program is good for that. There's a lot of patients are on this Dr. Pompa detox program, and I've heard really good things from my patients who've gone through that as well. It's like a lot of it is specifically geared towards detoxing mercury from the the fillings and stuff. But
very good.
Yeah. So then there's the factors about cleaning the socket properly. So that goes back to the biological extraction we were talking about. So a lot of it is on the technique of how the surgery itself is done. Hydration is important too. Sometimes we will take out a tooth or something and there'll be no bleeding at all. It's just dry. And then that patient's not going to heal well. So, at least one thing I can think of that helps with that is hydration, just get better blood flow happening. And then there's go ahead. Yeah.
It can also really interfere with sleep is if your blood's too thick, you're not going to be able to rest.
Yeah.
So I just heard that.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's things you can there's pulsed electromagnetic frequency therapy. Like there's the Beamer device. There's other devices that they emit a pulse similar to the Schumann resonance of the earth. And that actually has been shown to improve microcirculation too. So we're integrating some of these things into the clinic. So you'll go into one of these treatment rooms, you'll get a relaxation treatment for your nervous system and also be lying on one of these PEMF devices that is helping improve the microcirculation. So yeah, there's some cool things you can do with that. There's also light therapy, red light therapy, photobiomodulation to help improve, mitochondrial function and blood flow. And then I like to stress this, a lot of people have a surgery and they'll go right back to their normal life too soon and they'll be too active. And I really like to stress that people need to carve out that time in their life. It might be a week, it might be 2 weeks that you just had a surgery, respect your body, just rest so that your body can actually put energy into healing and not have to worry about the daily stresses of life and fighting the tiger, right? Or running from the tiger.
Oh, that's huge. It seems to go without saying. Somebody had to say it to me a couple of years ago when I was really down. And it's like, Beth, you need to stop.
Yeah, you're doing too much.
Yeah. You can't work through this. You need to tell your body that it's healing time now.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, like you needed to tell me that, but oh well. That's fun.
Sorry, is it back up?
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, like wisdom teeth especially, it's a major surgery, and sometimes people don't rest enough. They're up doing. I tell people don't even take out the trash. Like you're not allowed to take out the trash.
Right. So, good.
Yeah. So this is a patient. This is kind of the most amazing healing response I've seen with one of my patients. So she was diagnosed with MS, multiple sclerosis, right? So in December, she had all this numbness going all throughout her body, in her feet and hands. And they found lesions on her brain in the MRI. So same thing, she was offered steroids and immune suppressants. She was already on the health journey, so she didn't want to do that. She did a whole bunch of lifestyle changes, and she was able to get about 60% better from her absolute low. And then she had this vibration sensation when she would look down. And so December was her worst. Then she saw me in March. This was the piece of bone I removed to get into one of the cavitations. So this is a crazy picture, and you can see the fat. Like it's just, unbelievable.
That is.
So in her, it was just gushing out. So we open it up and we're just cleaning all of this fatty deposit in there. She had an amazing response right away. So we're working on her, and she raises her hand. She's like going like this, moving her fingers, and I stop and I'm like, "Are you okay?" And she's like, "Yeah, I'm okay. My hand just went completely numb. Like it was always partially numb, and it went completely numb. And then the other hand had the same thing. And then I continued the surgery, and once I cleaned everything out, then both her hands went completely normal for the first time in months, which was, pretty remarkable. And she had this huge emotional release after the surgery. And then she came back the next day for me to check on her, and same thing, her hands were good. And then I kept checking on her every month or so, and she's experienced 100% improvement in that numbness symptom in her hands. So
that's amazing.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Incredible story. Thank you for sharing. I teared up the first time you told me.
Oh, wow.
So good.
Yeah, it was really, and she just had this huge emotional release. Her husband, and they drove 7 hours from Connecticut. She found me and she decided to drive up to see me. So anyway,
Right.
yeah, that was pretty special. So this just summarizes. So, her worst, I asked her just from 1 to 100 to rate where you are at each stage. So she got to 60% better and 40% better. And then, by April, she was 95% better with her hands, and this vibration symptom was 85 to 90%. And I think she's, gotten better and better since then. So
Congratulations. That's amazing.
just a really cool, you're given this this label, this diagnosis from, doctors, and they're told there's nothing you can do. You're just going to live with this for your life. And, she had the tenacity to say, I don't accept that. I'm going to keep searching, because why am I broken?
So
Okay.
this is before and after, or no, you're on.
No, next topic.
Okay.
So this is this whole topic about jaw growth, and where we have deficiency and adequate jaw growth. So on the left is this is a photo of two different children. So on the left you have what's considered good, where you have big spaces between the baby teeth of the kid. And what this means is that, so the adult teeth are bigger than the baby teeth. And so when the adult teeth come in, there needs to be enough room for them. So when there's spacing between the teeth, it gives us a good sign that, yeah, this person is going to have enough room for their adult teeth when they come in. This picture on the right, all the teeth, they look beautiful, right? Like, so you'll see some kids and they have perfectly straight aligned teeth, but it's actually not good, because the next set of teeth that come through are going to be all crooked, because there's not enough space for them. They're going to be all jammed up. And so this is really the central issue of why people end up needing braces, and why they end up needing teeth extracted to make enough room for all of them, whether it's wisdom teeth, or sometimes the premolars need to be extracted as well to make enough room for the teeth. So it's really, the root cause of it is underdevelopment and lack of growth of the jaw bones. And so there's not enough room for all of the teeth.
Right. Yeah, that's the big platform of Western A. Price, which I do not recommend. I just have to say, for the record, but they were onto it in that the jaw did not develop properly.
Yeah, I have some pictures. I'm going to talk about Weston Price in a minute, but yeah, I'll just leave it for a minute. So this here is the same picture on the left, and then it shows there's enough room and the adult teeth can grow in straight. So spacing between baby teeth leads to straight adult teeth, no need for braces or wisdom tooth extraction, healthy airway and breathing, and a lower risk of TMJ issues, ear infections, dental issues, including cavities. And in this case, where you have deficient jaw development, there's no spacing. It leads to crooked adult teeth. You can see the picture here where there's no room. See, they're all jammed up.
Yeah.
And it leads to jaws that are too small to accommodate adult teeth. They end up needing braces, wisdom tooth extraction, and it may lead to airway and breathing issues. And they have a higher risk of temporoman. Do you know what the TMJ is? It's the jaw joint.
For sure.
On both sides. So more likely to have issues, pain with that, ear infections, and cavities and stuff. So
TMJ is also very much correlated with copper toxicity, by the way.
Well, and that's the grinding. So that's the same, that would be the same system.
Yeah. I used to have pain when I did this, when I just palpated the TMJ, whatever muscles, but yeah.
So in the last year, it's gone away?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, not 100%, and I have waves of it, but for the most part, I don't have tension at all in my jaw anymore.
So this is kind of on the same theme as this, but this is what can happen. So we talked about tooth grinding a little bit before. So here's an example of a patient who just ground the crap out of his teeth. And you can actually see, like on these lower teeth, you can see the enamel layer, and he's worn well through all of his enamel, and now that's the dentin layer underneath. And for me, I see this as like a breathing issue, lack of development. The jaws are too small and everything is restricted, and so that's one of the reasons. Obviously, stress management plays into it, and there's probably other factors too. This is the same guy. This is what his teeth looked like from above. You can see worn right through all of his enamel. And this just shows kind of, I showed you the child before of what leads to something like this. And then this is what we see in the adult. So if you don't get it early, if you don't address this growth deficiency, then you can see big problems happen once that person is adult age. This is him. Fortunately, today we can do things about it to help someone like this, and so we're able to restore his mouth and rehabilitate the whole thing. So just kind of showing what can be done in situations like this. So the whole Weston Price thing, he was really onto something. And I listened to your episodes with Garrett, and I don't know if it was actually in the Alex Zek one where he was talking about this, but he wasn't wrong in that these traditional cultures, they had no dental disease. They had beautiful wide faces. So that's like this picture over here. They have round wide faces. And then as we see people move more onto a Western lifestyle, then they get more narrow faces and the jaws don't grow as much, right? Where Weston Price may have got it wrong was that he linked it to nutrients. He linked it to the fat soluble vitamins. That at that time they were kind of obsessed with vitamins, and since then in the training. So I don't think his diagnosis of like people's jaws not growing and everything as they shifted onto more Western lifestyle was correct. He was really onto something, and then it happened in the successive generations of the traditional cultures too. So he wasn't just comparing. I think that's where Garrett, I disagree with him on it a little bit, is he said he was comparing it to people in America, and there's all kinds of different factors, but actually he compared it to their grandchildren too, that had been introduced to white flour and sugar and all these things, and they showed the same dental diseases that we were seeing in Western countries like America and Canada and whatever. So there really was something there, and there's different factors at play. I think like living a more outdoor lifestyle in the sun, all of those things contributed as well.
Sorry.
Yep.
Yeah, keep going. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. So the other thing is the actual consistency of the food itself. So food, as we process it, and like with industrial processing of food and the Industrial Revolution, we started really pulverizing and blending and doing all these things, and even how we cook food. If you really pay attention to your next meal and the next 10 meals, really think about like how much chewing do you really have to do with the food. And most of our food today is pretty soft, and so we don't actually use the muscles of our face to chew our food, and so that's one of the main factors that leads to this underdevelopment and this poor growth of the jaws.
I get it, right? It's like any part of your body that you don't use, that part of the frame is going to diminish because your body doesn't need to manufacture bones to
it
not
responds
support.
to the stresses, right?
That's right.
Yeah. So over on the left here, I have some examples. So like, if I love this conversation, this is like my favorite topic. So this has happened over a long period of time. So we can go back, however long we want. And before humans were an agricultural society, if we were more like hunter-gatherers, like we see with the Hadza and these other nomadic tribes, then we we actually, before we started cooking food, we actually had to chew raw meat off the bones, and we were like chewing all day and using our jaws. And so if you look at old skulls, like they're massive, they've got these massive jaws. And then, as you know, I don't know how long ago we started cooking food. It was, I mean, time, you can talk about the timelines and what we know versus what's speculation, but at a certain point we started cooking food. Cooking food makes it softer, and now we're not using our jaws as much. So as soon as we started cooking food, and even as soon as we started using tools like knives and stuff to cut up food, we didn't have to chew as much. And then you introduce agriculture, and now things take another great step. But even in more primitive agricultural societies, they still didn't have all these dental problems. You can still look at like the catacombs in Paris, and different deposits of old skulls in the world. They still have straight teeth. Actually, I have one sec.
It's interesting. The anthropologist in me wants to pull that all apart, but
So this is a half of a skull, but like you can look at skulls and you can see, oh, all the teeth are straight and they've got all the molars in and everything. So that's what's interesting when you look at old skulls, and very little dental disease. Pardon me?
Yeah, my apologies, but if they are in fact that, there's just so much unfortunate
Sure.
holes in their dating process, and like outright scam in academia.
Yeah, but we see it with these people, right? It's sort of the same thing.
Right. This is contemporary. It's more believable. So I don't mean to just blow it
No,
apart,
totally.
but the whole carbon dating thing is absolutely bunk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's go forward to like the advent of refrigeration, and that's quite a new advancement as well. So before refrigeration, we had to smoke and like dry out meat to preserve it, and then we would be chewing on this leathery meat, and think about what a jaw workout that is when you're chewing on like a hard piece of beef jerky, not like the soft stuff you get in the store now, but like real, like it should be like shoe leather, really. And that if you chew something like that, your jaw gets tired, the muscles get so tired, and that's really the stimulation that we should have to induce proper growth of the jaws. Then there's the topic of baby-led weaning, where since the advent of Gerber and baby food, we feed our kids these pureed foods, and now they're in these little convenient squeeze packs, and people give them to their kids in the car, and there's no chewing. It's like a liquid diet essentially.
And liquid sugar, drinking the carbs.
Yeah, exactly. So you don't want to drink your food, right?
Right. Unless you're.
And breastfeeding is the other one. So breastfeeding is very important as a initial input to the system to encourage the proper growth of the jaws, and even facilitate the right breathing. So when a baby is breastfeeding, they're forced to breathe through their nose, and the tongue is in the right position, and all of that. So the recommendations generally to, like, if you can, I know some people struggle with it, and that's fine. It's just know that your kid's development is going to be affected by not breastfeeding, right? So 18 months is usually a good amount of time for breastfeeding. And then if you follow the baby-led weaning, you just introduce real food. You skip the baby food stage altogether, and start introducing real solid foods to your kid around 6 months usually. So there's some resources on this whole topic. This is my favorite guy on this topic, Dr. Ben Moralia. I would honestly bring my kids to see. I don't have kids yet, but I would bring my kids to him. He does amazing work. And then he has this directory here of all dentists that have gone through his training. So and myself and the dentist that I work with, we're going to start his training this October.
Hmm.
This is a pretty cool book about this whole topic as well. It's a take on the jaws, right? Like the same graphic there, but with a dental X-ray and
Great name.
about, what's that?
Great name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do I have that one up there? I might have it up there on the shelf. But so that's it. Thank you for everyone listening. Thank you, Beth, for having me. Here's my information here. Here's the doctors that I work with. There's my dad on the right. He started our practice, and then my brother and I. So there I am. My brother's over here on the left. And now we have another doctor, Dr. Polovic, that's joined us. He kind of looks like he could be related to us, but he's not. And yeah, that's about it.
That's awesome. So your dad's working with you?
He's kind of retired now. He's like semi-retired now.
Yeah.
But yeah, let me just stop my screen share here.
Sure. And I wanted to show people quickly the website with the resources that you talked about. So maybe I'll take that.
Oh, sure. Yeah. You found it?
Yeah. And so the download materials.
Yeah. So you would click resources first on the top, which you already did.
That's where I am. Yeah.
And then they're all there.
And what was the specific chart, the one that you pointed out to? Was it here?
Meridian system, second one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did it open? No. Okay. So anyway, it opens when you click that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a PDF, downloadable PDF there.
Okay. Very good.
All right.
Yeah, that was awesome. So much good information there. We're already 2.5 hours into it.
Wow.
I don't know if you want to take any more questions. It's okay with me, but it's up to you.
Let's say, do you want to go like till the hour, like till, what is it? It'll be 6 o'clock.
Another half hour. Oh, to the hour, actually. That's good. Yeah, that helps. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so let's do that. And so if there were questions, some of them we got to along the way. I blurted out a lot of, here's one about graphene implants. Any thoughts on that?
That's not a thing.
That's not a thing. That's the PSYOP, right?
No, I've never even heard. I think like, in the 80s or 90s, there was like a carbon fiber, like that's what graphene is. It's a carbon linked thing. And they tried to make implants out of them and they failed. They didn't work.
Okay.
But they're not, it's like a carbon implant. It's not a graph. So I don't know if that's what they're referring to, but yeah, there's no such thing as a graphene implant.
Okay. Very good.
Nowadays. Yeah.
And obviously you're against fluoride. I think we kind of talked about it, that it had certain Band-Aid effect, good. And I don't know if
I'm not a fan. I just, the hydroxyapatite does the same thing for the teeth as fluoride, but it's just less toxic overall to the rest of the body.
Oh, good to know. Yeah. And do you just get that anywhere, or do you need
There's
a dentist?
Toothpaste with it. There's different brands of toothpaste that have that. There's one called Fig, Fygg. There's another one, I think it's called Revitin. There's quite a few now. So it could be like if your kids are prone and they get cavities, like it's not a bad idea to use something like that with them.
Okay, very good. Yeah, I might get you guys to, if there was a burning question, to repeat it at the end of the chat. But I think we kind of ended up going through most everything here. Just look at my list and see while you guys are waiting, or while we're waiting, if there's any repeats here. I did not see your Viktor Frankl quote, so you could reshare that if you like. And so there were a few just really specific questions, which I'll encourage you guys to go and find Julian on Telegram, because he's offered to give feedback there. And this is about anesthetics that now I'm pretty sure I know this, but they're scaring us. You know about that, like that they're infested with nanobots.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
It's graphene oxide. That's what, like.
Oh,
some people are like, oh, it's mRNA, and it's like they're saying there's graphene oxide. Like that's a whole mess. There's a resource. I'll point people to, there's a website all about it. Let me just quickly pull it up.
You could share a link in the chat if you're open. Yeah.
And the IAOMT, the one that put out that SMART protocol, they actually released a statement on it as well.
Yeah.
So I'll just leave that with people. I'm not so worried about it personally.
Right.
Anyway, yeah, let's just leave it there.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't let people scare you about nanobots. Stop watching that stuff.
There's none that it's just it's whether there's the graphene oxide. There's graphene oxide in tons of different things.
Right.
And I just think if we're healthy, we're always, exposed to toxins, and we can detox, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, we're so afraid of graphene oxide and nanobots and stuff, and we don't think about calcium carbonate that is again ubiquitous. I'm just learning about that one. It's in the trails, right? Like it doesn't need to get very sophisticated for them to kill us. Okay,
did guys, the link show up that I sent?
I found it and I put it in the chat here, so people can click on that.
I put something in the chat with you here. Oh, sorry, maybe the wrong one.
That's the wrong one. Okay.
Oh, here, I'm not. There we go. Let me see. It says I need to connect my YouTube account to join the chat.
Oh, darn.
So I did private chat. Did you get that?
Yes, I did.
So it's fargodentist.net.
Yeah. That's exactly the one I was showing there.
Oh,
yes,
good. Okay, I'm going to
see the screen anymore.
The IAOMT one.
Okay. Yeah. So can you see the screen? That's the one I put up there.
Yes.
Or are you? Yeah, you could stop your share if you still are. That will help you see what we're seeing.
I think I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, you did. That's right.
Okay.
Good. So let's see. It was about fillings and root canals. What would you start with in terms of removal? Would you go fillings, amalgams first?
Typically, so if you're going to do, let's say there's an approach called all-in-one, where it's like, I want to deal with everything. So you want to get the metals removed first, because when you're healing from the surgery, you already want to have all the stressors. So metal is one of them. So that's the right way to do it. You do metal removal first, whether it's fillings or crowns, and then you do the surgical phase, and then you generally have a better healing experience when you've reduced that excess toxic load.
Right on. Excellent. That's so good. And Viktor Frankl is about concentration camps. That's a little mildly debatable too. Sorry. Very, yeah. And then what about the role of bacterial plaque and tartar in healing teeth? Now you said that the tools they use to scale are harming your teeth. I'm assuming you shouldn't use them yourself either, right?
Unless you were a hygienist before and you've got the skills. Like, sure, like some people can scale their front teeth. I do it on myself at home. Like, yeah, you can do it. Like, do it at your own risk, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's very obvious the part the calculus that comes off, it comes off easily. You don't have to. I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, you don't want to dig into the gum. Even me, I can't get everything off on my own. I have to see the hygienist.
Right.
And that's like, it's a cultural thing. It's like the same reason why you brush your hair. Like, it's culturally, we want to be hygienic. We want to have good breath. Like, yeah, you could leave the buildup on your teeth and you're not going to get disease from it. But it's just, as a cultural thing, we like to have clean teeth and fresh breath and nice hair and all nice,
Yeah, clean heart, clean mind, clean conscience.
It feels good, right? When your mouth is clean, it feels good.
Yeah, and your body doesn't have to spend energy trying to manage if there are toxins in your mouth or wherever.
Yeah,
that's an energy saver. So I won't comment, Em. I have no basis for the claim if it sounded like I'm making one, but it just is dodgy conclusions based on like trying to take health information from something that's historically a little muddy. What resource contains the practitioner directory? Would that be a regular website?
Which one?
The resort. Oh no, the resource directory is the one we just showed, and that one is the CanadaBioHealth.com.
Yeah.
And here I'll reshare
That's like
that.
my education platform and stuff where I like, that's why this side of things where I'm trying to teach people, I'm doing it under that. It's different name than my clinic because I just want to keep some separation there. But,
Right.
let me see here. There's another directory of dentists that have gone through the same training as me. So I'm gonna send you that link.
Okay. Yeah, we talked a lot about healing and supporting enamel already, so that was one of the questions. And we talked about metals eroding over time, so that's that. Yeah, I think actually more or less all the answers. I mean, I could just quickly ask one. Oh, Rose is here. Nice to see you. Hydroxyapatite for the win, exactly. So I had my amalgams removed, and mostly it all went okay. It was over the course of 3 months, but I am left with on the top and the bottom of the right side sensitivity now. And yeah, now I'm remembering. I told you this for the second time.
That's okay.
Yeah, and I think it is a cold thing, although I can chew like crazy. It's just like if a cold, even room temperature water will make it hurt, strangely enough. And it's like a zing from the nerve.
And that's why at the beginning of the presentation, I showed the structure of the teeth. And as soon as you've had a filling, it's compromised. And then, when you go to get these things removed, you have to accept that there's some risk that there could be further damage to the tooth. So there's no perfect solution here once your tooth has already been, drilled into, essentially.
Right. So, and then and you were talking about cracks as well, like if you catch them early, but if they're old cracks, then you're just out of luck. You just see how it goes.
Well, there's sometimes like, it really depends. Like if, the dentist looks at it and they're like, you know what, there's a chance, like, you're having this sensitivity right now. We could try a new restoration. Maybe they did a big filling. Maybe they could do like a cap on the tooth that contains maybe a crack. Maybe that's why you have the sensitivity, and then it could solve it. So there are situations where you're having something like that it can be helped.
Right. And you said that people travel from all over to see you. So what's the best way to reach out if they'd like to consult with you?
Just for like to see me would be terraindental.ca.
Okay.
And
I'll put that link.
I have a if to become a patient, there's a link there, and then you can get in touch. And then I sent you the link for the directory of the dentists that have done the training. Someone asked about Scandinavia and stuff. So there should be someone closer to them.
Okay.
Did you see that one?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, you got it. Okay.
And then, so that's for consults, and this is for that directory.
Yeah. So there's 2 of us in Canada now. So I was the first one, and then there's another one in Montreal, and I'm close with her. I was just in her office doing some surgery with her a week ago. And that's the thing, is like, there's people in BC like coming to my office now. So there's not a lot in Canada, and it'll change. It'll happen.
Some demand has to be there, but it's kind of like the medical system where people haven't really got disillusioned necessarily that things aren't working.
The demand is there for sure.
Right, but not en masse.
No.
Where we would start making our government cover that. And
that's the other side. That's the whole other side. That there's this Canada Dental Plan now where they are sort of socializing the dental, but it's like putting a chokehold on dentistry.
In which way?
So the same way like what happened in medicine. So now like in Ontario we have OHIP. So like family doctor will get paid like $30 for an appointment no matter what. And it's just like, that's why they cram so many people in, and it's like a 5-minute appointment. And so they barely pay. And so that's the same thing happening with dental. So they're covering some procedures for people, but it's at a very low amount. So you've got to do volume to run your business. You've got to see 20, 30 patients in a day. Whereas now I'm seeing maybe sometimes I only see one patient in a day, sometimes 3 or 4 patients in a day, right? So if you want that personalized care where the doctor is spending, like I spent 2 hours in an initial consult with a patient today, you're just not going to get that in a system where the government's paying for it.
Exactly. Yeah, good point. I totally reject. I got a letter saying, "Oh, you should sign up for this," but I know full well, because when we took my son and he had the coverage under his dad, then they only covered a small portion, and I'm still left with the bill. They're like, "Oh, it's going to be free." It's like, no, it's just a bit of it. So, is it really worth becoming to get that benefit? I would.
I mean, it's from a tax perspective, like it's so wasteful from that side, and even
the administration,
it's administered, like there's been dentists that have gone on and like just to see, and they make, you have to make over a certain amount of money to qualify. You have to make under a certain amount of money to qualify, and these dentists are qualifying because they've kept money in their business
corporation.
Yes,
right.
Exactly. So they're qualifying. There's all these people who shouldn't be getting it, and so it's a shit show.
It's a PR campaign for the government that looked good, and it's really not good. Yeah,
exactly.
So we're 3 minutes down to the 3 minutes mark. I asked earlier about the strength of fillings that replace metal, and her dentist doesn't like them. What do you?
Yeah, the composite material is a little bit softer. So some dentists have a problem, but you can, if that's a problem, then you can get ceramic, and that they're harder, and that solves that problem.
So ceramic fillings.
Yeah, well, they're called inlays or onlays. There's different techniques you can do to restore teeth with different materials.
Okay, and could you ask a regular dentist for that, or that would be more?
Yeah, that's what I said. Like there's a lot of dentists that have done this biomimetic training, and I would try to find a dentist who's done that training, and they'll be very competent in those different approaches.
Okay. All right. The next question is, would you come to Manitoba and start a practice?
I'm thinking about Calgary, but yeah,
we'll have to go there.
Yeah.
I have a hygienist for you, just so you know.
Yeah.
Yep.
Lake of the Woods looks nice.
That's close.
Yeah, that does look pretty nice there, but we'll see. I'm just gonna stay put for now and see what shakes down over the next 10 years or so, and then see what we do.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's pretty much it for now. Thank you so much for doing this marathon, almost 3 hours.
It flew. I can't believe it. I can't believe it was 2.5 hours of me talking
and me interrupting.
But yeah, I hope it's informative and educational for people. And if there's any other questions, I guess people know where to find me.
Yeah, I'll share your Telegram one last time, and it is in the notes below if you catch this as a recording, so you can go straight there and you can join Julian. And while he's still answering questions for individuals, I have a feeling that won't be the case forever by any stretch of the imagination. So I will stay on just 2 minutes to close with the same announcements I opened with in case anybody misses them. And there's some important stuff going on. Do you want to stay on, Julian, or do you want to get on with your evening?
I guess I probably should go. And
okay.
Okay. Yeah, I tend to run late, so I'll head home.
Okay. All right. Have a great rest of your evening.
Thanks so much.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
You
bye
too.
for now. Okay. All right. Well, that was awesome. Incredible. I knew it would be. I was very excited, and I was telling everybody, and I'm so glad you guys could make it. So coming up on Monday, Dr. Andrew Kaufman is going to be my guest, talking about leadership in the health freedom movement, the responsibility that comes of it, because we're getting far enough into that to start to see some fallout, right? I won't get too deep into it right now, but this is, to quote Dr. Garrett Smith, this is not a game, and it can have extremely serious outcomes, and we need to be aware of that in a big way. So that we're also going to talk about psychiatry and psych meds and a few other things. So I hope you can make it for that. And coming up Wednesday this week, it's not too late to sign up for what I'm calling a talk, The Power of Questions. It's my Journey Code Coaching open house. So once a year, I host an open house where we talk about, in this case, I'm going to be talking about the power of questions, because that is the main tool that I use to help people, help people. And 'cause it doesn't work when you just go like, hey, you need to take a break, your nervous system's all shot, and what do you but if you just ask, like, what are you doing to relax? I'm going to tell a funny story about that and some success that I had. And you can sign up at this link for free. The Journey Code training is in the House of Free Will. If anyone would like to join the House of Free Will, to join the training, you would have to become a member. And it is a small donation monthly, but it is by application. So I know that we are of a similar nature, and we won't bump up against each other and hate each other in there. Not hate, but, just unnecessarily come into conflict, which can happen. It is not a religious organization by any means. You might see this word ministry in there, and I'm actually taking the word ministry out of nearly everything. I just saw the URL still has it. But we have meetings. I used to call them fellowship, but I don't want people thinking that it's a religious thing. It's just not. We are going deep into topics that really matter to me first, obviously. I do a weekly podcast that is for members only. I go deep into subjects that I wouldn't otherwise talk about in public. I share a lot more about myself. I swear more, and we're meeting on a weekly basis to discuss and go deep into the topics like I talked about, as an experiment to see if we can get along. So far, so good. It's working well. It was a little bit of a rocky start because we had all kinds of weird elements going on, but if you'd like to apply, the link is there. And I think that's up. The Journey Code Coaching Training early bird is on till August 6th only. So if you would like to look at the details, you can click on the link for the open house, which has a link to the training itself, or you can just go to my website. I'm not hiding it there. And it's a good time to see if you want to be somebody who helps people professionally for a living, right? And you do it cleanly, and you do it with good boundaries and solid principles that took me the better part of 20 years to learn myself, making all the mistakes. You don't have to make all the mistakes. You can if you like, but you don't have to. You could make new mistakes. And it creates a really beautiful community. It's very family-like when people are taking great risks to do healing work for themselves. And you do much deeper healing work for yourself when you're preparing to do it for others. And over the course of a 7-month training, people come out with some really serious tools, some hardcore tools that absolutely work. I continuously put my work to the test. I get in pickles I think I can't get out of, or there's problems that I think are unsolvable. And this is going to the root, just like terrain medicine, just like a lot of what Julian was talking about. You can't just band-aid everything. It doesn't work in the long run. So if you go right to the root where the programming lies in the unconscious that make decisions for us when we're not aware of it, the programs operate on your behalf as if they're not separate from you, but they act like they are. And then we do all kinds of things that really don't suit us, aren't in favor of our life, don't support us, don't support anybody around us. And these are incredibly valuable. You can also work with me or one of my apprentices or my graduated coaches to just do the work on yourself. It's totally fine. Feel free to reach out at my website if you'd like to hook up with me or one of the people that I've trained. And if you're really willing and you really want freedom, this stuff works. It's not easy to just be honest and face what is going on inside of you. It's the most painful work, but the pain is power, and freedom is on the other side of pain. That I've seen consistently over the course of the last 20 years since I saved my life with much of this work as well. We work with archetypes, the hero's journey, so that you can find yourself on the map. So we're not just these lost creatures that have been lied to our whole life, and we did everything upside down because we're thinking that that was the best for us, right? Everybody did that. You did these things because you thought they would help. You might even, as a practitioner, do things for other people because you think you're helping them. And I'm not here to just make everybody feel bad, but I am here for the truth. In fact, that's the name of Joel Yerasimos and pardon me, Joel and Yerasimos are going to be on August 11th as well coming up. I also have Rogue Ways. Miss Lindsay Sharman is going to be on. So those are some of the things coming up. And definitely look into the Journey Code coaching training if it calls you in the least. It is the deepest healing work that I offer. It is absolutely transformational. There's a ton of testimonials. There's a ton more that aren't even on that page yet, but I think that's all for today. Thank you everyone for coming. I'd love to hear how you enjoyed today's stream. I thought it might be a gooder and a popular one just because people's mouths are very important. You can't get around it. It's one of those basic things. I have kind of mangled teeth myself from my childhood, and that's how it all goes. So I think that's it for today. I love you guys. I'm going to play us out by another piece by my son, who is Saiko on YouTube. That spells psycho. I have a hard time saying that. And I hear there might be some more music coming from him. So stay tuned for that. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Lots of love for now.